feeding your passion for local sports in the afternoon. It's the Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Kyle Drake on your radio at 1140 a.m.
Streaming audio at SacktownSports.com and the Sacktown Sports app.
You can also watch the show on YouTube at Sacktown Sports 1140. Here are the Drive Guys with Kevin Gleason and Kyle Drake.
Yeah, we got no Kyle Draper today. Oh boy, I mean that's a tough blow. Our roster is compromised. And we got no Jay today. Jay just had his birthday. Now what are we going to do? Well, not only do we have Simone holding the show together, but we also have Jerry Reynolds. I think we did pretty well here.
Well, certainly with Simone. I mean, that's the key addition, I think. I mean, Kyle's got he's got big shoes to fill. I can't fill them, but I can stick my feet in there.
Yeah, we'll see. Flop around a little bit for a few hours.
A little bit, yeah.
That's so much fun.
Simone just got back from the coast, right? Up the coast?
Yes, it was gorgeous. A little Mendocino, a little Fort Bragg never hurt nobody.
Never did. It really never did. I haven't been up there in a few years, but that is
so peaceful. And you typically head to the lake, right? When you're going to get away for a little bit?
Yep. We're getting ready to spend more and more time up there.
You got Reynolds Acres up there? I got to get
Mrs. Reynolds up there to get things ready. I don't show up till things are ready. You know what I'm saying?
I see. Yeah. Okay. I want to ask you, Jer, about this game yesterday out. Could relate to the Kings with Cleveland knocking off Orlando 106-94. I got to be honest, today is not a good day for me to say how much I think of Franz Wagner, is it? Because he didn't.
He was not good. He was not good. He's
Not
a
yesterday.
good player.
Yes.
He just did not. He had a very, very poor game.
He did. Couldn't make shots. Other than that, I thought he just couldn't make a shot.
Well, the thing that scared me about that game is probably the same thing that scared a lot of Kings fans is that, boy, they need shooting.
Exactly. That's what I was
at guard.
That's what I was going to ask you. If you're Orlando, do you pursue Malik Monk? Now, before you answer, I saw it today. You probably saw it. There are reports, I'm not sure how solid they are, that the Magic have real interest in Clay. That they got $40 million in cap space. They may go after Clay. But if I'm a Kings fan, that's the team all along that I've been looking at and going, man, if I'm Malik, I think that's a real possibility.
Oh, I do too. I mean, I could see him going after Clay as, certainly they have a need for shooting it too. And they could hope that Clay could be sort of Clay again. But even as he is now, he'd be a tremendous improvement.
Yeah.
As a shooter that they don't have. But I'd be very afraid of them. And I think San Antonio, just because.
Yeah. It seems to me, Jared, that Malik has, look at that, Simone bringing you some.
She's the best, isn't she?
Yeah, thank you. It seems to me that Malik's stock has really risen during his time in Sacramento, not only because he's scored so many points and he's been so consistent, but he's proven he's a combo guard, right? He's a legit combo guard now.
Yeah, he's a guy that, is, I'd say, a strong sixth man of the year candidate.
How did he not win?
Well, Naz Reid won. That's how.
Oh, okay.
Although I do think Monk deserved to win. I think had he not got hurt, I think he would have. But both certainly terrific players for their teams, as proven.
Yeah.
But
Jerry wanted Naz Reid last year.
Yeah, I sure did.
Yeah.
Wouldn't mind him next year and the year after and the year after either. But no, yeah. What were we talking about? I lost.
That's okay. I was leading you all over the place. Just Malik as a combo guard and how that improves his value.
Yeah, well, because I think some teams see him as a starter. Certainly, they know he could start. They know he could be third guard. They know he, that sort of thing as a 30-some minute guy off the bench. So, and he's shown more playmaking skills, which I think nobody knew he had until he played for the Kings. And certainly, I thought that was one of the real losses, not just his scoring, but his playmaking. I always say he got Domas 2 baskets a game, and usually Alex Lynn a basket.
Yeah. Malik probably runs the pick and roll better than any other guard on the Kings.
Oh, by far.
Yeah,
by far.
And also down the stretch of some of those games after he got hurt, you could tell that they just missed somebody to kind of organize the offense.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he's it's going to be tough for the Kings to get better if you lose one of your 4 best players.
I think a lot of people are going to be upset if they lose him. People will wonder why they didn't offer him more. And as you know better than us, because you've dealt with all this stuff, it's like you're limited now because they gave him the 2-year deal. So what you can offer him now, there's a cap on it.
There's a cap
on it.
on
Only offer him so much.
And that's the problem. They can offer him so much. And if teams that have more cap room than that,
Mhm.
and there's four or five, six, I don't know, that could offer him more if he's the chosen one,
Yeah.
so to speak. And that's what you just can't know.
Yeah.
You know,
I would,
it's like
if I'm Orlando, I would choose him. He'd be my chosen one.
yeah, he would be too. I mean, sadly, I think he would flourish there. You know, he flourishes here too. But yeah, that's the scariest one, I think.
Yeah. And on top of just the salary, I'm no economist, but the tax implications there. Florida's better to be in than California, isn't it?
Yeah, I sometimes wonder why I'm still here, you know, but you know, oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta, I mean, if it wasn't for the weather, this place would be empty.
Well, anyway, keeping an eye on all that, of course, going forward. Do you think the great Jerry Reynolds with us today, the great Simone keeping us on the air. Do you think if Malik goes, does that put more pressure on the Kings than to go out and get a bigger name addition?
Well, I think they clearly have got to get more talent. I think, you know, Monty and Mike Brown are aware of that. The bench was thin and you know, they really need probably better starters and more size and length. I think that's pretty aware. Now, how you go about that and who you decide to go after. And I mean, I think there's some really good players that will be available through free agency, not at the huge money market, you know, that they'll have a 12 million plus exception to use, as well as trade possibilities. So, you know, you hope you can keep Monk and you still have that and still have trade possibilities. That would be your best move going forward.
Yeah, there are some really good players who could be available for 12.9 or less. It is interesting, though, Jerry, when you go down the list of free agents, how many guys that I think we tend to think of as being, they're okay. How many of those guys are making a lot more already than 12.9 million?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, it's
Gary Trent Jr. is an example. Oh, you should be able to get him. Like, no, he's making way more than that already.
Yeah. It's kind of amazing. I mean, occasionally I'll kind of go through that just to kind of refresh myself. And then there's players, you know, that sign for very minimum kind of things like a Kelly Oubre just to get back in the league, so to speak.
Yes.
And he's a good player. And he'll be a free agent. Well, I'd imagine Philly wants to keep him, but you know, they've got bigger.
You like Oubre, huh? You like Kelly Oubre?
To a degree.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he fits a lot of what the Kings are looking for, an athletic, good defensive player.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now he's not as big as you'd like, but he could fill a bill. I mean, he's a lively, there's a reason he was picked 4th in the draft when he came out or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. But yeah, I mean, there's guys there's a few like that, like Monk was a few years ago.
Right.
And I mean, I think the Kings they were very smart and astute in getting him. And there'll be a couple of guys like that if they get the right ones at the right price, guys that know they've got to reestablish their careers.
To me, and I've said this before, it's the basketball version of Moneyball, where the A's would see guys that they could see where these guys are undervalued. They're better at things than other teams realize. So we're going to sign them, and it's going to be a really productive signing for us. And that, to me, that was Malik, where the Kings saw him at the time. He was like, I mean, his future was in question, right? But the Kings saw what he could do, and here we are 2 years later. So I think they have to continue to keep doing that. And I think that's something that small market teams have to do better than big market teams in order to survive.
No, I think that's a real key for small market teams. And I think the small market teams that have done well over the years, which Kings did back in the early 2000s, you know, getting a Scott Pollard or John Barry when they were kind of forgotten pieces, you know, and they came in and reestablished and were solid. And, you know, Utah's done that for years. Indiana's been good over the years, a small market team keeping themselves relevant. Oklahoma City, you know, finding guys, those, and I think that is a real key for a small market is get a couple of guys that turn out to be better than teams that had them thought they were going to be.
Right. You got to be more clever than the other guys. Who are you pulling for in the Knicks Pacers? I made the point last week that if you're a Kings fan, you're not sure who to root for here, you could do worse than the Knicks because they have 3 former Kings on the roster and they're scrappy and they're in the East. You know, it's hard for us to pull for teams that are in the West because we've been going head to head with them. And the Knicks are fun right now. So I said the Knicks are a team that I can get behind. Who are you pulling for in that series? Well, you're an Indiana guy.
Yeah,
right?
I really feel guilty because I've had a relationship with Rick Carlisle over the years, and of course Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah.
Really a good player, excellent player, and wonderful guy. But I'm for the Knicks, and
are you really?
I really am, and I'll tell you, I just love the way they play.
Uh-huh.
They play so hard and so tough. And Coach Thibodeau really has been an excellent coach for years, but has never really gotten quite the attention in my mind he deserves. People always say, well, he plays his players too many minutes. Well, he don't have that many players, so he's got to play a lot of minutes.
Right.
But they become a favorite. Jalen Brunson, is just the kind of knockout star of the year, so to speak. Came from nowhere, second round pick, and looked terrific in Dallas. I never understood why Cuban didn't see the same thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, really an MVP candidate,
Mhm.
and the Villanova connection.
Yes.
We had Dante Vincenzo here as well as the Warriors, and he wasn't that good either place. He's really good there.
Yeah.
Which again tells you a lot about Coach Tibbs.
Yeah, and I think Dante's going to be guarding Halliburton. So you got two former Kings.
Yeah.
In the semifinals. Kind of frustrating in a little way.
Yeah, Yeah. So anyway, there's all that, but there's nothing but good series now. It's really the good teams are still there.
Did you hear Rudy Gobert is apparently not playing tonight?
Oh, really?
Yeah, his wife gave birth to a child, so he's personal reasons have came out though. She just had a baby, I think, today, so he's not. I don't believe he's playing tonight. So
that's good news for the Nuggets, but it's also true that it hurts them depth wise. It really doesn't necessarily hurt them in the starting lineup necessarily.
Mm-hmm. The child's middle name is the series is now even at 1. That's
Well, it'd be interesting because I can say I think with Naz Reid and Carl Anthony, they've got plenty of firepower up there, and old Slow-Mo can still play a little bit.
Yeah. They gave Jokic they gave him 4 in that first game, didn't they?
They did. He had to work for his points. He really had to work for them.
Mm-hmm. We're going to take a brief timeout. We'll be right back with Jerry Reynolds, and we'll ask him why everyone is comparing an ant to a goat as we roll on with Simone, keeping us on track today. So Drive Guys, Sacktown Sports.
Malik Monk plays here.
Started left, goes right, steps back, launches the three. Nothing but net. Oh, that was just filthy. Oh, my, that was sweet.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Hey there, wanted to take a moment of your time so I could talk to you about insecurity. I could talk to you about confidence. I could talk to you about girth. Yeah, what? Girth? Yeah, okay. Let me tell you about the Upsize Clinic at UpsizeMatters.com. My good friend, Dr. Jack, and his friend, Dr. Pash in San Francisco, have a safe, effective, long-lasting doctor-performed procedure. It's non-surgical, virtually pain-free. Now listen, girth is consistently ranked as the most important attribute. What Dr. Jack and Dr. Pash are offering is a free consultation. The procedure can be done on the same day as your consultation and get that confidence back. Reset in the bedroom with your partner. Financing is available. It's very private. It's very discreet. Available in Roseville with Dr. Jack and San Francisco with Dr. Pash at UpsizeMatters.com. That's UpsizeMatters.com.
You still have time, but you've got to get a stop. Edwards will knock it down court. Look at this, left to the rack. What a win for the Minnesota Timberwolves on the road in the second round for the first time since 2004. That's it. They beat Denver by 7.
Do you know that last year, the Nuggets on their way to winning the championship, they never trailed in a playoff series?
I did not know
They were even a couple times, but they never trailed. Drive Guys here. Got Simone, Whitey, Jerry Reynolds. So we're just going over the NBA playoffs here, and Jerry also has some very interesting ideas on what the Kings should do, what they might do, which we'll get to. But as far as Minnesota 106, Denver 99, Jerry, this is something that started earlier this year maybe, and now the drumbeat's getting louder and louder and louder as people are saying, hey, this Anthony Edwards looking more and more like Michael Jordan. What do you think, Jer?
I'd pump the brakes a bit. I'd just pump them a little, tap them at least. But, I think he's going to be great. I think he very well could be the best player in the league in a couple of years. I would compare him closer to Kobe than Michael.
Really?
I think Michael was besides great, he was a driver. He just made guys work harder. Kobe was a bit that way, but he was never the full version. And I think, and with Ant, to me, he's just a fun loving, great player. But my goodness, we'll see in the next couple of years. But it's not.
You see flashes of it, don't you? Where
You sure?
wow, yeah.
Oh, you do. His ability to, get to where he wants on the court, the amazing athleticism, and he's a good defender, and likes to play defense. So there again, that's kind of where he's like Kobe and Michael, because he's a very good defender and really takes it personal, which just not enough guys in the league do, especially some of the stars.
To his credit, he was asked about that again. I think it was earlier this year, might have been in the summer. And he said, I'm like a young Michael. He said, don't compare me to Michael, but young Michael, yes. And as you're talking about that incredible work ethic that Michael had and Kobe had, I'm reminded that when Ant-Man worked out for the Warriors, Steve Kerr had to tell him, he said, they knew they weren't going to get him because they had the second pick and they knew he was going to be gone, but they worked him out because you never know. And Steve Kerr told him, you're not working as hard as you think you are. You think you're working really hard, but in this league, to become what you could become, you're going to have to work a lot harder. And I guess he was kind of taken aback by that.
Yeah, and he mentioned in one of his interviews just after the game how the USA basketball really helped him, kind of get on the right track. And I think it's probably true because he was really good last year, but he's a full notch better this season. And so, I think you should put him on the Jordan Kobe track.
Right.
But but the station is down the road a bit.
Yeah. It is incredible though that even in game one, there's times, if not over the whole game, where there's some really great players in that series, but that guy's the best player, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
He really, I'd heard Michael Wilbon say this back on Pardon the Interruption early in the year. Which I agree with Michael a lot because he's old, basically.
Sure.
Yes. But he said he thought that Edwards could be the face of the league. And I was saying, oh, come on, there's a bunch of guys. And as the year went on, I was, you watch him more and more. Yeah, he could. He in a couple of years, he could very well be the player in the league, more so than even Wembanyama, just because he's so much more fun to watch.
Yeah, but it's probably one of those two, huh? Tyrese at the All-Star break, when he was leading all the balloting and he had the most votes and he played so well and they were in the in-season tournament, Tyrese Halliburton looked like he was a guy who could become that, but after he got hurt, he wasn't quite the same.
He has never really been as sharp since. I don't know if it's the injuries. His stats have dropped off, clearly.
Right.
In about every category, so the injuries could be part of it. I think getting Pascal Siakam is maybe a part of it too, because he has been the guy they go to for big buckets now, for the most part. So, it's hard to tell, but I suppose it's a little bit of both.
Well, speaking of Michael Jordan, there's there's a Twitter debate between two NBA luminaries, and one of them is one of your all-time favorites. So I think I know who you're siding with on this. But the debate is over who's the greatest, LeBron or Michael Jordan. JJ Redick was on, I think he was on Shaq's podcast. JJ Redick said, well, he went LeBron. And he said, because the league was a little watered down during Michael Jordan's prime. And Eddie said, look, I think it's also LeBron. Okay. I'm with you. But he said that you don't know what you're talking about. What do you make of that? That the league was watered down during Michael Jordan's prime.
Well, I would say this, that's not the first time that JJ Redick hasn't known what he's talking about. But I mean, really, and, I'd have to agree with Eddie all along the line. I think LeBron, his career, his length of it, all the things, he is the GOAT. But, having said that, I always say if you take any player in the league, great player, their best 4 or 5 years at their best for 5 years, then Jordan's still the best on that basis.
Here's what your buddy Eddie said to JJ Redick. Again, JJ Redick says the league was watered down. So says a guy who was 6 years old when the 90s started. We would have tested your manhood quickly. If anything, you would have been relegated to serving water to the veterans until you manned up. So that's
JJ, the style of play at that time and all, he'd had a tough time playing in the league, as a 3-point specialist for the most part. And he was good. He was a good player in the style that currently exists.
Yeah. And by the way, Eddie points out, pardon me, but Eddie points out on Twitter, he says, when you played, I said really nice things about you.
Yeah.
You were a really good shooter. So he understands how good JJ Redick was.
Yeah. It doesn't take away from it. And JJ was a terrific, all that, but no, it's a different game. And, it's hard to compare, but we've talked about it so many times. The 3-point shot was much less of a factor. Teams maybe shot 8 to 10 a game in those days, 12, and but it was more physical, and you really weren't allowed to carry the ball at the same level they carry it now. Guys carried it, but they couldn't carry it, 5 feet before they put it down, that sort of thing.
Really? That was not against the rules then?
Well, they had a rule in the book, I always say the 2 rules that are never called, and the Kings benefit like every other team does because De'Aaron carries it and Monk and then the dislodging rule, which Domas benefits greatly, but you see it all the time where the offensive player just bang guys backwards.
Yeah.
They're in position and because they're bigger and stronger, you just get to knock him backwards, and that's a foul on him.
Yeah, boy. If Shaq were playing now, he'd score.
He might. He might be the Wilt kind of stuff.
He'd average 100 game up.
He was. It was awful.
A lot of people, and I've been one of them, have bemoaned, if you will, the fact that they're letting a lot of calls go now. They're not calling as much. But I think you're more or less in favor of it, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I like this much better. I mean, real playoff basketball. I thought the second half of the season when they basically loosened things up and let guys touch each other a little bit. I think, the reason I like it because you have to earn your baskets. It's just, the 140 to 130 games, I know some people like that more, but I'm okay with 110 to 100.
Jerry, I don't think it's a coincidence that when they started allowing teams to play that way, that's when the Kings defense got better.
Yes.
Don't you think?
Oh,
because that's kind of how Mike Brown had been preaching. That's the way he wanted them to play.
Yeah. And, they got more physical. I mean, obviously, I think Keon Ellis getting to play more really did help that too. But the team, I thought at the end of the year, De'Aaron Fox was playing outstanding defense. And, the D did improve once they got a little more physical.
Here's a question for you on the chat. You can give we always have, when Jerry's here, it's ask Jerry whatever you want to ask him. That's the whole show. We don't have a segment for it. It's whenever you want to ask him. So here's a question on the YouTube chat from Kings fan. Mr. Reynolds, how much does this remind you of the way Jeff Petrie built his teams, and do you see a similarity?
Great question. And yes, I do see a lot of similarities, and I see a lot of similarities in the teams, in other words, and I think sometimes as fans, we forget that, because I'm old enough to remember exactly all this stuff that happened but that first team.
Well, some of it you did, right? I mean, it didn't just happen. You were involved.
Yeah. To fun or not fun, but I was. But anyway, that first year, the team really was the darlings of the league. The lockout season was over 500, played the Utah Jazz to a great series. Everybody loved the Kings. The next year came back, weren't quite as good.
44
and 38, got swept by the Lakers in the first round. And then so a lot of negativity.
Yeah.
Much like what we're seeing now. Oh, they can't ever contend, blah, blah, blah. Well, what Jeff knew and most of us knew is that's right. That team wasn't good enough to contend. This team isn't good enough to contend as it is. So that brought on some key moves. I think picking up Doug Christie, You traded Corliss Williams for Doug Christie.
Corliss Williamson's one of your favorites, wasn't he?
One all-time favorite, and of course, terrific player. Went on to be a sixth man of the year with the world champions. So
I think he and Elston are on the Minnesota staff, if I'm not mistaken.
And Michael Norrie. He was a Kings assistant as well. We got him everywhere.
Yeah,
Former assistants and stuff everywhere. Bless her. But Elston, of course, is great. But anyway, that the Christie trade was one of those deals to me. It's a little bit like the Sabonis trade in the sense that it made you better at two positions, much better at center, but it also allowed Fox to be Fox. And getting Christie allowed Peja to be Peja, as a small forward.
Yeah.
And so you got a little better at two positions. So they went up, still had Jay Will and everything, and you went up to 55 wins. And so then you were on the right track.
Mm-hmm. I'd never thought of this before because Jamal Murray went off and had such a big game, and then Tyrese Maxey had a big game for Philly. I was looking at underrated players, and I saw some list 50 most underrated players of all time, and right around number 50, maybe 49, but somewhere in there was Doug Christie. And I'd never thought of Doug that way. I thought, wow, because he was here, we just kind of thought him as, he's a really good player on this really good team, but I'd never thought of him as being really grossly underrated big picture. And I think he was.
Oh, I do too. I mean, I think when you look at all, really outstanding teams over the years, there's always guys that had a big role in it. And certainly Doug did. Doug had a big role in how good the team was.
Yeah.
And certainly, as much as I hate to admit it, guys like Robert Horry, guys like that were never the third or fourth best player, but you couldn't, you weren't going to win without them. The Paxsons, the Kerrs, those guys.
Yep. The Mavericks have extended Jason Kidd. So who should the Lakers grab? And what does Jerry think about how the Kings should handle the Mike Brown situation? We're back with that. Drive Guys, Sacktown Sports.
The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
A handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10-5. Touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sacktown Sports.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions. Attention anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, and other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-934-9217. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you with the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-934-9217 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, and other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217.
My community means everything to me. That's why I joined the Army National Guard. I'm proud of where I'm from, and as a soldier, I get to give back to the people that helped me succeed. The training and leadership skills I get from the Army National Guard help me every day when I teach young people and look out for my community. If you'd like to learn how you too can serve part-time with the community you love, visit nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the California Army National Guard, aired by the California Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hagen Oaks Demo Days is in the home stretch, and this is your last chance to register for an individual fitting appointment with the manufacturer's fitting staff from Ping, TaylorMade, Mizuno, Callaway, Cleveland, Strixon, and Zexio. You've waited many long months for the new golf season, and Hagen Oaks has your new golf gear right now. Book your individual Hagen Oaks Demo Days fitting appointment. Call 916-808-2531. That's 808-2531 for your personal fitting. Hagen Oaks, Fulton Avenue at Cap City Freeway or HagenOaks.com.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at powercopiers.com.
Hi, I'm Kamiko, the founder of Miko's Hot Chicken. When we started our family restaurant, we were also raising a family. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. Our Chase Inc. card was there to reward us on all of our business needs. Now we have a thriving location, and we're hungry for more.
With the Chase Inc. Business Unlimited card, you can earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for Business. Make more with yours. Real business owners compensated for their participation. Cards issued by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jay Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPFest.com.
Brought to you by Kids Care Dental and Orthodontics, the Hot Tub Store, and Cattleman's.
All guests come to you from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Jerry Reynolds is with us today, and so is Simone. Thanks for being with us yourself here on this Monday. Before we get any further on the NBA and what the Lakers may do, I just, the Giants are wrapping up a series in Philadelphia, and the Giants haven't been playing well. They lost last night again. And I saw this quote from Bob Melvin, and this may not be fair, Jerry, but it reminded me of you and some of the things you might have said when you were coaching the Kings. So they asked Bob Melvin, what's wrong? And he said, it's a lot of things going on. Said, we're not pitching well. We're not swinging the bats well. We're not swinging it well with runners in scoring position. Our defense hasn't been good lately either. It's like, what else is there?
Yeah. Like that. Yeah, other than, our offense is ineffective and we can't really stop anybody on defense, I think we're doing pretty good.
Now, I don't know if you ever said that, but I'm sure there were nights when that's what you were thinking.
There's nights I should have said it. Yes.
Yeah. Jerry was, we disagree on this a little bit. I think he was ahead of his time and he's too modest, but some of the stuff we see now with all the 3-point shooting and the 4 out, I remember you kind of started some of that with the Kings. And I think you said, no, you didn't really start it, but I think you were kind of a visionary in that way.
Well, some of it's desperation, when you only have a certain amount of players that are NBA caliber, you want to get them all on the floor. And when I noticed when we did that, they were all pretty small.
Yeah.
So relatively speaking, then we didn't have centers.
Yeah.
And so it was just trying to utilize your players as best you could.
Because Harold made himself a really good 3-point shooter. Right?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, Ricky Barry and Vinny Del Negro. I remember there one night you guys, I think you set a record.
Set a record at that time, which they make that made halftime now.
Yeah.
Of course, they shoot 4 times as many by halftime too.
Yeah.
But it's it's just a desperation thing. Trying to figure out. At least we can put on a good show and have our best players out there, even though it wouldn't match up league-wise.
Yeah. Well, I think you were ahead of your time.
Well,
would you say that, or you're too modest to say that?
I wish you would tell Mrs. Reynolds that. That's the only thing I can tell you.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Another question for you from Manny, our friend Manny Too Legit. Jerry, what was your favorite moment of the game from this last season? So your favorite game moment from this last season. Do you have any?
Well, there's a lot of them, and all came in the Warriors play-in game. Certainly I love the fact that the Kings beat the Lakers 4 times, but that was regular season. But I think the play-in butt kicking against the Warriors was brought quite a bit of personal joy to me. Manny, I don't know about yourself, but I've gotten so now you just can't beat the Warriors and Lakers enough to suit me.
Right. Here's a great one on the text line. And I don't know who sent this. If you put your name on it, we could give you credit, but thank you. One of my favorite Jerryisms was when Sacramento had Dwayne Coswell and Dwayne Shinsis. And one night Jerry said, we got 14 feet of Dwayne and we can't buy a rebound.
Yeah, you could have had added another Dwayne, 21 feet of Dwayne.
Dwayne Dedman, maybe.
would have been, yeah, we weren't Dwayne-less, but we were reboundless.
Mm-hmm. Oh. So, yeah, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Got a question, comment for us, for Jerry especially here. Treat always to have him with us. What do you think the Lakers are going to do now about their coaching situation? What do you think they should do? By the way, we just found out there was some talk about maybe the Lakers and Jason Kidd, and the Mavericks have extended him, so cross him off the board.
Yeah, well, if the Lakers were to ask me what I would like for them to do, I would say I would think that maybe you should hire Dick Motta.
Dick Motta, okay.
And that would be my first choice.
Yeah, who might have been the coach there when you only had 14 feet of Dwayne's and couldn't get a rebound.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You're not hoping that the Lakers do well in this.
I am not. I hope they make and I don't think Darvin Ham was a mistake. I think he was a quite good coach, but no, really what they need to do, make it official, make LeBron GM, head coach, and player head coach.
Mm-hmm.
Just make it official, get done with it.
Mm-hmm.
Quit jerking the rest of those positions around.
There was a time when that was done, as you well know.
Yeah. Well, in those days, I mean, it's like Bill Russell, player coach, and you had several of them going back. Dave DeBusschere and
Bob Cousy
for
the Royals was the
Royals,
coach, I believe.
Yeah, he was pretty much done as a player, but he still thought he could play.
Didn't he bench Oscar and he played instead of Oscar?
Well, I think he was kind of why Oscar
maybe
got
he was
traded.
Tiny. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, but time Tiny come there, he knew but yeah, it was the reason it was done because they didn't want to pay an extra guy.
Mm-hmm.
I always remember back in the 50s, and I just started watching. Usually, the 12th guy, rather than having an 11th or 12th guy, they just cut him and make him the coach. so that kind of probably showed you how they viewed the value of the coach early on.
And they might have an assistant coach, right? But they might not.
Well, I think the first assistant coach, Don Nelson, had I can't remember his name. But this was in the early 70s. It was probably the first time there was an assistant coach. I think even then the Lakers had an assistant. Pat Riley was assistant.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that was very few teams that had an assistant coach, and none had two.
So the trainer had to do stuff, right, that the coaches do now.
Trainer did everything. I mean, in my day, we had one assistant coach and a trainer, and usually an equipment man, and that's who traveled. No PR people, no. So the players had to schlep their own bags, and the trainer made hotel reservations. So
he was
buses,
a traveling secretary.
Got the traveling secretary.
Yeah.
It's just an amazing job. Bill Jones did for years. A great trainer, and then of course Pete Youngman really had the same talents. He fortunately for him, he came in at a little better time.
Yeah. And didn't the trainer have to keep track of timeouts in some cases?
Keep track of timeouts. And I always remember Cotton Fitzsimmons told me once when he was coaching the Kings, and Jonesy kind of spazzed out or dozed off or something and forgot to tell him he was out of timeout. He only had one timeout left. And so he was on Jonesy for months after that.
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Tin is with us on Sacktown Sports. Hey, Tin, how are you?
Hey, Whitey, I've never gotten a chance to speak to Jerry before. I'm going to come up with questions out of my head. Does, coaching for 10 years in the NBA, does that qualify as a veteran coach?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Tin.
Yeah, 10 years. Yeah. It's just kind of like a player. Basically you're fully vested at 10 years now.
How many years of your life does coaching in the NBA for 10 years take?
It's like dog years. It's 10 years in the NBA is like 70 years of life.
Wow.
I didn't have 10 years, thank goodness. I never made it. But so that is the kind of from the pension plan, which was, was terrible back when I came in the league. I think great Jack Ramsey had won a championship, and he'd coached for 15 years as a head coach, and I think his pension was $12,000 a year.
Wow. The league's changed a little bit.
It's a lot better now.
Yeah,
a lot better.
Yeah. JJ Redick has also been mentioned as a possible head coach of the Lakers.
Yeah, I'd be a good choice.
You like that one?
I like that one. Yeah.
Where did Darvin Ham go wrong?
They needed somebody to blame.
Uh-huh.
I mean, really, I think with LeBron and Anthony Davis, they're pretty quick to point fingers.
Yeah.
In
LeBron is
other
good at
directions.
that. And LeBron doesn't have to be.
He
Because
doesn't have to
he's
be.
really good at that.
Yeah. I mean, if there's ever a player that doesn't have to point fingers, it's him in the history of the game, but he does.
The one joke at Tom Brady's roast that he said was out of bounds. We're back with that in a moment. Jerry, Simone, Whitey, Drive Guys, Sacktown Sports.
The only place you'll find Harrison Barnes is Sacktown Sports.
He's got the bucket at the buzzer. Harrison Barnes.
Hey, Sacramento, it's Harrison Barnes, and you're listening to the home of the Sacramento Kings, Sacktown Sports.
Your local sports leader.
Hey, everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code MONTHFREE by May 31st. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Some people just know safe drivers save more with Allstate. Just like they know a saxophone solo makes any song smoother. See? Smooth. And they know if you're a safe driver, you can save up to 40% with Allstate. Now that's nice.
Based on the national average premium savings for Allstate customers with a clean driving record versus those without. Savings vary by state and based on how you buy. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
We all have some things from the past that we might regret, or better yet, might like to get rid of. I'm talking about that mistake you made years ago that still may be haunting you. How great would it be if that could be expunged and gone? Poof! Just like that. But where do you go for something like that? Try the Gonzalez Law Offices. Jonathan Gonzalez is right here in downtown Sacramento, and he's here for you. Maybe you need someone for wrongful termination. Again, the Gonzalez Law Offices. Go to saclegaldefense.com or call them at 916-304-9187.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity Mobile. Connect to the most reliable 5G network nationwide. Well, sometimes in sports, you just need a chance. The A's' Tyler Nevin had played in just over 100 Major League games when he's acquired by the A's earlier this year. And as April comes to an end, you can make a case he's been their best player, homering 3 times in a 5-game stretch, batting over 300, and also showing his versatility, playing 4 different positions.
Want more speed? Well, Xfinity just increased their internet speeds, and they're faster than ever. It's time to get more out of your internet with faster speeds from Xfinity. Now through June 21st, get 150 megabit Xfinity internet for only $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. That's double the speed for the same great price. Click, call, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and other charges extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
Maida Chevy saves you $12,000 off MSRP on every new half-ton Silverado LT 5.3 liter in stock after rebates. Always 5 to choose from.
Exclusive, all in-stock pricing at MaidaChevy.com. Together, let's drive.
See dealer for details. Ends 5/31/24. So here's a fact. 85% of the population will suffer from foot pain in their lifetime. That's almost everyone. So you'd think there'd be plenty of healthy long-term remedies, but there just aren't. Right? Hi, I'm Dan from the Good Feet store. You know, people come in all the time sharing the same frustrating story. Bought this, tried that, been there, done whatever, all different kinds of things, but all with a similar result. Nothing. A discouraging and endless cycle of disappointment. If this rings a bell, don't despair. There is hope. If you think you've tried everything, you probably haven't tried Good Feet arch supports from the Good Feet store. They're designed to relieve, even eliminate, the pain commonly caused by certain foot conditions like plantar fasciitis, bunions, flat feet, and others. Plus, provide better balance and increased comfort.
Do you have sore feet, an aching back, or plantar fasciitis? Then get to the Good Feet store nearest you for your free arch support fitting. Good Feet arch supports are only available at the Good Feet store. Bonneville International Radio Station contests are open to participants at least 18 years of age and older that are residents of California and who reside in one of the 6 counties that make up the Sacramento metro area, unless otherwise specified. Employees or agents of the station, Bonneville International Corporation, other area radio stations, or any entity associated with the contest are not eligible to win. Unless the station otherwise specifies in its own discretion, persons who have won in the last 30 days from a station contest or event may not be eligible. For a copy of the general contest rules, visit khtk.com.
Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
How about this? I got to give Compio some credit here on the YouTube chat. We were just talking about player coaches, talking about maybe LeBron should be, it was Jerry's idea. LeBron should just be the player coach. They used to have player coaches. Compio suggests, he asks, Lenny Wilkins, the last player coach? It might have been, huh?
Yeah, I think that might have been. I can't think of one after.
Because he was more recently than Russell, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I think
that's a really good name. You know, I've kind of forgot that, but that probably would be the last one.
in baseball, I think it was Don Kessinger, and I could be wrong. I think Don Kessinger on the White Sox was briefly a player manager, but I don't know about that. There's some, it's kind of cool. I mean, it's obviously really a bad idea. You know, a player has too much to do to be a manager or a coach, but I'd like to see it again.
Well, yeah, I think if you had the right staff, you could do it. I mean, I always remember Bill Russell telling me when he did it, he said Larry Siegfried probably coached the team more than he did. You know, he was a reserve, a good player, but he said Siegfried knew how they wanted to sub, and so he'd make sure guys got in and out, and even he'd even call timeouts because Russ said, "Hey, if you see something, call timeout." And then, of course, Russ would call timeout. So that I would assume, you know, if you had a couple of really experienced assistant coaches that you could trust,
assistant coaches who actually do the coaching.
who actually do some coaching.
Yeah. Of course, there have been occasions in the NBA where people used to say about Byron Scott, didn't they? That his assistants did more coaching than he did when he was with the Nets. I'm not saying it's true, but
yeah, I don't know if it's true. I know Byron was one of the assistant coaches for the Kings.
Yes,
at that time too. You know, and I thought, I found it to be very knowledgeable, to be honest.
Yeah, that's one of the few times Jerry and I kind of were at odds. We were recently doing a podcast. We were talking about smaller players who were great dunkers. And I don't know if you remember this, but I mentioned Byron Scott, and you wouldn't talk to me for 3 days.
Well, yeah, 6'4" guys, and you like Spud Webb and Nate Robinson. Now that would be small guys who are great dunkers.
Yeah, but you didn't say that. Now that's fair enough. You just said he wasn't that great of a dunker.
Well, he wasn't even that great dunking for a 6'4" guy. I doubt that he'd be in the top 50 of 6'4" guys.
Tremendous. There are mixtapes of his dunks. We'll have to get him on sometime and talk about that.
Well, I think he'd probably be on my side. He'd say,
really? If he's on your side, I quit.
I think he would. I think he would.
Before we get to the phones, one more on the chat here. Talking about coaches. Pike's Place says, I would be down to trade Coach Brown to L.A. for AD. He'd be such a great fit next to Sabonis or Ingram. What do you think of that? Trading Coach Mike Brown to the Lakers.
Well, players aren't going to be traded for coaches. So we can't do that. I mean, so there's that. I mean, I think the Kings are really lucky to have Coach Mike Brown. That's just be my take of it. It's not to saying there could be guys we might consider to be an Eric Spoelstra or more guys that have maybe had a little better careers, but overall, it's not a coincidence the Kings have had two awfully good years. Just not what we wanted here in this year, maybe, but in 2 winning teams of the 10 and 40 years history. So keep in mind, and this is a team that's building. It's building. It's a work in progress, and this summer will determine a lot.
I agree with you. I think they're lucky to have him. However, if I could trade Mike Brown for Anthony Davis, I would do it.
Yeah, no disrespect to Coach Brown, and
I don't see that being an option.
If we could get, Anthony Edwards, actually Jaren Jackson Jr., I might, we might throw in a 2nd-round pick.
Nothing against Coach. Do you think the Kings will probably? And I don't know, you don't maybe want to meddle in somebody else's business when you've been a coach and a GM, but Do you think it's important for the Kings to get this resolved? Mike Brown says, yeah, we got one more year, then it's a mutual option. So this is the last year. Do they need to just get this settled so we know what's what?
Well, they could. I see no problem with them doing it, and I don't see any problem if they don't. To be honest with you, I know the media. It's always been the media stance is that if the coach is on the last year of his contract, that it really affects the players. And I've said this on the Kings Herald podcast I do, the Kings fan side, and I said, look, players don't care. They care about their contracts, and I don't care how good a coach is or how much they like him. There's always someone saying, well, maybe the next guy played me more.
Yeah.
So
it's the nature of the beast.
But I mean, in my mind, it probably would be a good move for the Kings, but I don't see any necessity because, as it's mentioned, it's both options. So they can pick it up, and so in effect,
I would sure pick it up before he had the option of leaving.
Exactly. So I mean, I'd assume they'd probably just want to say, hey, let's wait a little All-Star break or something like that.
All right, we'll see. 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Ben joining us on Sacktown Sports. We got Ben and Jerry. How about that? How are you, Ben?
And Jerry.
Yeah, there we go. What's up, Ben?
Hey, there we go. I didn't even think about the ice cream reference. Well, thanks for taking my call. Just real quick, such an honor since being a Kings fan since 1987. I will tell you that this is such a huge honor to talk to you. I just got two quick questions for you, Coach. Are we going to see any guest appearance for any broadcast this year? And then the other one was, I would just love to hear your most favorite or most memorable fan interaction that you ever had. And that's about it. But other than that, I love you and thanks for all the memories.
Thanks. Yeah, I don't anticipate any broadcasting duties. They've obviously got the broadcast teams and been together now a while. I did a couple, not last season, but the season before, I think, or the lockout season.
The COVID year, right?
The COVID year, because Katie Christensen was sick, I think. And so I did a couple of games.
Weren't you in studio trying
to
do it?
In studio. It's really difficult. Mark Jones was live in Philadelphia, I think, and I was in the studio in San Francisco. And so it was a kind of an experience, but obviously
you bailed them out.
I was happy to do it. Happy to do it. And certainly Mark's easy to work with and all. And so, that's
easier to work with than that other guy they got.
Ooh, Kyle.
Yeah.
I never got to work with Kyle.
I have.
Yeah, I know. I admire you for it, but no, I was going to say, so they've got a good team. And I would just, if there's really something that I could do and they needed me to do, I would do.
Yeah.
I mean, I owe them. I mean, I feel like I owe them. They don't owe me.
As
far as fan experiences,
was that it right there? Was that it right there? Ben calling you? Was that your favorite fan experience?
Actually, that might be it's the best I've had all week, Ben. So you moved up to number one. But yeah, I can't recall very many bad experiences. Probably the only time I can remember a really bad experience with a fan, or at least a Kings fan, was when I was doing a book signing back in 2005 or whenever it was. And some fan came up and told me he didn't like me, and he didn't think, that the Kings should just get rid of me. And I won't exactly say what I told him, but I think I hurt his feelings.
Oh, well, he hurt yours.
Yeah. That's the way I took it. I mean, if you're gonna hurt my feelings, I'm a little tender, I wanted to get to my safe space.
How about Steven joining us here at Sacktown Sports? Hello, Steven. What's up?
Good afternoon, Whitey. The legendary Jerry Reynolds.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, how are you doing today, man? It's an absolute pleasure. I have one question for you. It might be a two-parter. So your very last time coaching, the last time that you were in basketball, I guess you could say the day that you hung him up, right?
Right.
Could you talk about that and describe how it felt? What was your last moments in the NBA, in league offices? Like when did you hang him up, basically, and why did you hang him up?
Well,
thank you, man. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, there's probably several things I could say. Now, when I really completely got out of the league was when I was just strictly doing broadcasting.
Because after you coached, you were in the front office, right?
Yeah, I was after I coached, and I was in the front office for a long time, as well as running the Monarchs and things. And then when Vivek bought the team, I just went strictly. I knew he wanted to bring in new people, and that was fine. I understood that. I was ready to just do broadcasting anyway, because I enjoyed that more. And so surprisingly, I actually made more money doing that than I was doing when I did coach the Kings.
Really? When you coached the Kings, you made more money? Wow.
Yeah. I wasn't a very good negotiator, but didn't have any negotiating ability. But anyway,
sounds like you got a lot better as time went on.
Well, anyway, but just when I retired from broadcast, completely getting out of the NBA, it was, I let them know that, and so I was a little surprised at the, all the different things they did, and a lot of the workers in the arena, which I'd gotten to know and really respect a lot. Just people, regular people, went out of their way to thank me and stuff like that, and that meant a lot, because more so than quite honestly, players and things. And so that was good. As far as getting out of coaching, it was strange because that was one of those things that Bill Russell had been fired as general manager. And Greg Lukenbill asked me, would I like to continue coaching, or would I like to move into the front office? And I said, well, let me think about it a little bit. And I remember telling my wife, I said, well, if look from the looks of this roster, I'm going to get fired from coaching pretty soon here.
And you've coached your whole adult life, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I started, as 22 years old in junior college kind of thing. So I'd been at different levels. And so I said, because she had said, my wife, bless her heart, was a lot more optimistic than I was. She said, well, hon, you've always been able to turn things around. I said, not going to happen this time. And so I said, yeah, I'll move into front office. And I didn't really, and I was glad to do it. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for a while. So I guess I don't know if that answered your questions, but that was it. But no, I had the choice, and I really appreciated that, Greg.
You earned that choice.
Greg and Joe Benvenuti treated me very well.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah. Great. Well, you're treating us well by joining us today. We appreciate it. We'll get to Tom Brady's roast. Also, what would Jerry do this offseason if he were running the Kings? That's coming up here. Simone, Jerry, Whitey, Drive Guy, Sacktown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out SacktownSports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on SacktownSports.com.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
The NBA app is everyone's app. Every fan of every team.
Oh, my goodness.
Everyone who follows LeBron, Tatum, and Embiid in the app. Every warrior who's ready to go to battle over three-point percentages. Every streetwear king who's here for the tunnel fits. Every young buck, nugget, and grizzly who wants to take a peek behind the scenes of the league. and everyone else on this floating basketball we call Earth. Download the NBA app today, available in the Google Play, Apple app, and Android stores.
Across Sacramento, air conditioners are firing up, and with them, power bills are going through the roof. Are you ready for your utility bill to soar even higher next month? Since 1980, Aztec Solar has helped thousands of homeowners save money because going solar is like getting an extra paycheck every month. We call it the Aztec Paycheck. How big of a paycheck? Find out at yourpowersavings.com. Visit yourpowersavings.com and Aztec Solar will text you how much money you'll save every month. Find out how much you'll save now at yourpowersavings.com. It's fast, easy, and reliable. Stop paying the power company and start paying yourself. Looking for a deal? Here's a timely offer from Aztec Solar. You can own a solar electric system for just $99.95. Cash price after incentives. Don't waste another dollar. Visit yourpowersavings.com and keep your money where it belongs, in your pocket. Aztec Solar. Solar and only solar since 1980.
I'm Craig Ashton of the injury law firm of Ashton & Price. Whether you've been injured on a bicycle, as a pedestrian in a slip and fall, auto, Uber, Lyft, or big rig accident, you need Ashton & Price in your corner. When you call Ashton & Price, there's no chatbot telling you to hit 3 for accounting. You're greeted by a real live person who will immediately transfer you to an experienced attorney. The consultation's free, and there's never a fee until you win.
Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton and Price.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions. Attention anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this, because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, and other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-934-9217. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you with the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-934-9217 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, and other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217.
This segment is brought to you by Kia of Vacaville. Check them out at kiavacaville.com.
KHTKAM HD1 Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
This is Sacktown Sports. Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
Well, egg in our faces. Got Jerry Reynolds, Simone, Kevin Gleason here. We were just talking about player coaches, and Compio suggested on the chat that the last NBA player coach had been Lenny Wilkins, and we all thought, yeah, sounds like that might be right. It was Dave Cowens.
Dave Cowens. Well, I blame Simone for that, don't you?
Yeah, I mean.
Not being on top of it back here. Should do many buttons.
Simone, did you by any chance catch any of the Tom Brady roast?
No, I was devastated because Netflix was doing that thing where I'm in one room and it doesn't recognize it and it thinks I'm away.
Yeah.
I have big problems with Netflix right now.
I didn't watch at the time, caught some of the highlights.
Yeah.
Shots were fired.
Shots were definitely fired. Very good shots.
Did you see any of the highlights today? Anything stand out for you?
I haven't. I'm just going to sit down and enjoy the whole thing. It looked like it was 3 hours long, right?
Yeah,
it's
I
kind
think
of
it
a meaty
was.
one. Yeah, so I look forward to it today.
And this is a warning, Simone. Very foul language, just so you know.
All right.
All right. Very foul language.
Well, I hang out with Jerry all the time.
You didn't have to say it, Simone.
The best one of what I heard was, Jerry and I were just talking about this, Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick got rave reviews. I saw just a few of what he said. I didn't see the whole thing. But at one point he said, his famous thing is, do your job. And he said, I watched Gronk on the NFL on Fox. Gronk, please don't do your job. Let someone else do it. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah. Belichick's got a little more sense of humor than he shows in the media after games, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm,
It's a little more than just
every so often. And it's so stunning when it comes out.
Yeah.
You just don't expect. It's like, where did that come from?
Did he have that?
I think he'll be good on TV.
Yeah. Well, he had a little he had a little bit more of almost like a silly grin.
Okay.
You can kind of tell, like, wait, that's not Bill Belichick.
Okay.
He had I think he and Robert Kraft did shots.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. And then Tom Brady did the thing where he basically admitted that depends on how you look at it. He made a joke about Deflategate where he said, the NFL spent all this money to determine that they think I most likely knew that the ball was underinflated. He said, if they'd given me the $20 million, I would have blanked and told them I did it. And I know some people are trying to make a lot out of that, but I think the whole point of the joke, Jared, it doesn't matter, right? It's like the whole thing was kind of a joke.
It really was. That was just, to me, that's just patriot hate, looking for something.
Look, I'm all in favor of, not so much anymore because they don't matter, but patriot hate, I was at the front of that line, I admit.
Yeah, well, I think once the the tuck rule, I still don't quite get that one, but that was but anyway, probably every dynasty has had some probably help in some way, some look away, whether it's been the Yankees over the years or the Boston Celtics or the Patriots or what, just anything. I mean,
boy, that tuck rule, every
so
often you think of that. The Raiders were on this station at the time. We ran their games. And I think if they went to the Super Bowl that year, I think we were all going to go. And I remember watching that, and I had to do something in the house. I remember seeing that play, and it's like, the Raiders won. I had to go to the back of the house for something. It's like, the Raiders won. I come back out, and the Patriots still had the ball. And I was like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I saw the fumble. They lost. They're losing the game. How did they get the ball back? So it was just one of those.
Yeah, same way. I was actually pulling for the Raiders. It's like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Anyway.
Also, Jeff Ross told a joke about Robert Kraft and massages. And the joke was, it wasn't that great, but that's what it was. Tom Brady got up and microphones caught him saying, don't say that bleep anymore. He didn't like it.
Oh.
So even during the roast, he got up and went over to him and told him, you don't say that bleep anymore. And then Jeff Ross said, okay. Look, he's laughing. He's having a good time. So that was the joke. And they were making jokes about 9/11 and the tight end that committed,
Menendez or Fernandez.
Hernandez?
Robert
Hernandez.
Hernandez.
Yeah, they're making jokes about that.
Yeah.
But the one joke about Robert Kraft and Tom Brady said, no, don't say that bleep anymore.
Yeah, there'd been a couple there I think you probably ought to passed on.
Yes. But,
but anyway,
you got to get people talking about you. Yeah. So that was enjoy it, Simone. I hope we haven't ruined it for you.
No, I look forward to it. Thank you.
3 hours. I mean, there's I don't know, maybe 9 or 10 really good jokes in there. 3 hours. So good luck.
That's too long for any roast,
Yeah. It's like a bad football game. I'll watch the highlights, but I don't want to sit through the whole thing. Who do you want to see roasted next? Anybody in sports?
I would love to see Jordan roasted.
Wow.
Really? I was just thinking that. I think that would be problematic too. And the nature of the jokes that people could come up with would get very hurtful. And I'm very apprehensive about any idea of that.
How well he would take it.
Yes, exactly.
That's kind of why I'd like to see it, Simone.
I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah.
I saw Michael once and he missed a shot. That's like all you can say, right? That's the most you can roast him. Anything else, and he's coming for you.
Well, probably several of his teammates would like to, but they wouldn't have the courage.
Right.
Other than Scottie Pippen, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Jerry, with this offseason upon us here, what would be the first thing you would do if you were still running the Kings? And let me say, Jerry doesn't need to say it. Jerry has great respect for everybody with the Kings and the front office and coaches, and in no way, shape, or form am I asking him to undermine anything that's going on. But I'm just curious, some of the things as a super fan who used to actually do it for a living, what would be the first thing you might think about doing here if you're running the Kings?
Well, actually, if I was actually running the Kings, I'd probably try to hire Monty McNair.
Sure, right.
And, you say. But having said that, I just think there's some general things that probably anyone. You've got the 13th pick, so you got to prepare for the draft to get the very best player that you can get with the pick if you keep it. Obviously, then follow that with anything you can do to find out the value of that pick around the league, which you can do. You can trade once you're not in the playoffs. So there's things that could be worked on now with teams not in the playoffs. So prepare for the draft to get the best player you can. Start bringing guys in. Also, what that asset is really worth. Try to get some idea, trade value, and then I mean, obviously, you've really got to focus on free agency, your own free agency, and the other team's available free agents. I mean, and I always said the two key, probably other than trades, the key thing is to keep your free agents and get somebody else's.
Yeah. At least the thing with Malik, I mean, there's nothing more they can do, right? It's done at this point. It's up to you. We'll do whatever we can to keep you. They could maybe offer him a 1-and-1, right? It's like, if you stick around one more year, then we get your bird rights, then we can offer you a lot. He'd be an idiot to accept that probably, but you can offer it.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I like say, if I were them, I would say these are the possibilities. You pick what interests you, because we can do more for you. But then, if I'm Malik and he hasn't made the huge NBA money yet, and so his agent would say, really, the old bird in the hand, and with injuries being what they are, this may be your only chance to get that long-term generational money kind of thing. And then, but like say with the free agency, I mean, it's pretty clear of how much room you're going to have. And so, try to find out the guys that will be free agents, not restricted free agents generally, but free agents, and this would be a lot more money than they're currently making.
Like you say, and we all know, the Kings need a talent upgrade. And when you need a talent upgrade, it's maybe you don't have the luxury of picking, we need someone who plays this position or that position. But that said, I think the Kings need to upgrade in the front court. I think they need shooting. They did not shoot the ball last year very well, and they have an offense that is designed, you get a lot of 3-point shots. What do you think in general terms, or as specific as you want without naming players, what do you think they need the most?
Well, I think they really, to be a contender in the West, they almost need in my mind, and I don't want to hurt people's feelings here, but they need two starters, one at the 2 guard. I think I like Keon Ellis, everything about him, but I think he's more of a off the bench 3rd guard. I think he really brings some good stuff. But
that's an incredible story. He's an NBA player. A year ago, we didn't know if he could play.
And that's the thing. He's proven to be an NBA player now. And you're hoping that he'd establish that he could be a starting 35-minute guy. But my mind is, if in fact you want to contend in the West, you can't wait. You need to make strides. So, try. I mean, it's like somebody saying, "Well, what would it take for the Kings to be a contender in the West if they could get whoever they want?" I said, "Well, if you could get Jackson Jr., Jaren Jackson Jr., and say Derek White.
Derek White. Okay.
Derek White in Boston. Okay, there you are.
You're set.
You're
set. That easy. Yeah, Jerry with more on what the Kings need to do during this crucial summer when we come right back. Drive Guys, Sacktown Sports.
Our first year as the radio home of the San Francisco 49ers is one we will never forget.
They're going to give it. No, it's a play action. Purdy going to roll left, throw for the end zone. Caught by George Kittle. He has the hat trick tonight, a career high. 3 touchdown catches for George. Touchdown, San Francisco.
Congratulations to the 49ers on a terrific year. And thank you for so many wonderful memories.
Hi, I'm Henry Winkler. My eyes are very important to me. My eyes connect me with everything I love. I loved my late father-in-law dearly. He always lit up a room, but his vision dimmed with age. He had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. And since partnering with Apellis, I've learned there's an advanced form of dry AMD called geographic atrophy, or GA. His struggle with vision loss made me want to help others know about GA's warning signs. For some, colors appear dull or washed out. For others, hazy or blurred vision make it hard to see details, like fine print on price tags. Many have trouble seeing in the dark, making driving at night difficult. GA gets worse over time and cannot be reversed. If you think you have GA, don't wait. Treatments are available. Ask a retina specialist about FDA-approved treatments for GA and go to GAWon'tWait.com.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jay Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPFest.com.
Brought to you by Kids Care Dental and Orthodontics, the Hot Tub Store, and Kettleman's.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
Having some fun with the great Jerry Reynolds, the great Simone. Thanks for being with us today. We've been talking about player coaches, player managers, or Campio. He's coming really close. Campio's the one who said, hey, I think Lenny Wilkins was the last player coach in the NBA. It's actually Dave Cowens. Then Campio comes back with Frank Robinson in MLB. Now, maybe Campio's not saying he was the last. He was a player manager, but the most recent, of course, is Pete Rose. I forgot about Pete Rose as a player manager.
Wow.
Yeah.
I forgot about all those guys doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. But we got Jerry Reynolds with us today. And Jerry was just explaining where he thinks the Kings need to go while being as respectful as he could possibly be to those currently in charge of the Kings. You mentioned that, in your view, Kings could use an upgrade at the shooting guard. How likely do you think it is that when Kevin Huerter recovers, that maybe he can be the Kevin Huerter who averaged 15 a game and shot 40% from threes 2 seasons ago?
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible because he's a young guy and he did not have a good year, relatively speaking, compared to last year. And he's a proven NBA guy. I know when he was in Atlanta, he was a real key contributor to a team that went to the Eastern Finals.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys have little off years for different reasons. So, he's like, quite honestly, if people say trade him. Well, sure, you should trade him if you get somebody better. If you can't get somebody better, you don't trade him.
Isn't this a bad time to trade him because his value is about as low as it's ever going to be?
Yeah, I would say generally speaking, and that's what probably. I mean, certainly Monty and his staff knows that what the value is and that sort of thing. But yeah, having said that, I mean, yeah, you'd like as good as Kevin has been. You would still like somebody better if you could get him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that makes you better, makes your bench better, makes you certainly more of a contender. And same way, I like Trey Lyles, but you would like somebody, if you could get somebody better than Trey, why wouldn't you want to do that? Now, It's easy to say, hard to do, as we know.
How about maybe at the 4 spot, HB, maybe same type of situation where valuable player helps you, but if you could upgrade there, that'd be a good idea.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think, Harrison's probably, I won't say he's totally on the downslide, but he's at the age where he's not going to really get better.
If he's on the back nine,
he's on the back nine.
He's maybe on 14 or 15.
He is probably teeing off on 15 right now.
Yeah.
And
so you got 4 holes left.
Yeah. Yeah. I know he's to me, and I think he would benefit by being an off the bench guy where you could play him at a couple positions. He's smart. He's a great teammate, a lot to like there.
Has played a lot out of position here, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. Yeah.
Which he doesn't get any credit for.
No. Well, he doesn't get credit for anything, really.
No.
And he's brought some of it on himself. I do think he allows himself to kind of blend in without being more demanding of the ball in certain situations, things like that. So, but anyway, that's also part of it. I think the Kings need to really strengthen their bench. Now, certainly if they could strengthen a couple of starting positions, then their bench becomes very good because some of the very same guys that we think aren't quite what you want as starters would be very good reserves.
And of course, the problem with that is, while that's certainly true, there's every chance you're going to lose your best bench player, who also happens to be about your third best player. And then, your needs suddenly increase. If Malik leaves, all of a sudden you're really over a barrel.
You really are, because, you can't really replace him. You might then all of a sudden you might be able to replace him to some degree with that exception, But that doesn't make you, you probably haven't replaced him, but you've sort of replaced him. And now you still got the other weakness.
Yes. It's like, we're bringing you in. You can do some of what Malik does, but someone else is going to have to do the rest of what Malik does.
Yeah. Now, one of the real hopes is, quite honestly, is the 13th pick. I mean,
I'm glad you mentioned that. Pardon me for interrupting, but a lot of people have been saying, the pick, maybe they traded. I don't know. I think Bobby Marks last week put something together where he talked about this could be an asset. And that's the way I've been looking at it. 13th pick for a team that is a little strapped in terms of their, how you can go out and get players. And I'm not saying you're going to go out and get, Anthony Edwards or Wembanyama, but there's a chance you get a player who's going to help you there.
Oh, well, and there's been major stars there. I mean, I'm sadly old enough to remember some of the guys that were taken, 13, 14 lower, like John Stockton, Karl Malone.
Kawhi was even a little later, I think.
Yeah, he was like 15. Adetokounmpo, a guy named Jokic, he was 41.
That's right, yeah.
Jalen Brunson was like 28.
You know what I think happens?
Round.
Don't you think, Jerry, that, fans especially, we get in our minds, we hear, oh, it's a weak draft. Then you think, a weak draft, 13th pick, there's nothing there. Well, no one knows really whether it's a weak draft or not until 3 or 4 years from now at least.
Well, no, there may not be LeBron James. There may not, be in this draft, but that doesn't really affect 13.
Right.
Because the 13th guy could be every bit as good as the second guy. Because there's, in other words, just not that much of a gap. And I think what few scouts I've talked to, that would be kind of like, you could get the second or third best guy at 20.
Yeah.
Easy.
That's what scouts are saying about this draft?
Yeah. There's a lot of players. Well, the Kings can benefit from a player. So it's still an asset. You just, I don't think you should expect Adetokounmpo, but
he's got a lot of brothers, so I don't know. You got to be
careful. They're not quite him either.
No. Yeah, I'm with you because of all the talk, like I say, of that pick, they're going to trade that. I think a lot of people just have this sense, maybe they're right, that the Kings are going to take as much as they can. The pick, Barnes, Herter, Davion, a couple number ones, and they're going to trade them off for the greatest player in history. And I don't know that player is available right now.
I don't believe it is. And then, then the other part of it is like some of the, pay attention like everybody is like, well, the free agents. Well, Paul George, who's going to get Paul George? Well, I don't know. He's really good. Do you want to pay $50 million a year for 3 or 4 years for a guy that
he's so far turning down overtures from the Clippers? So far, he may go unrestricted free agent.
But I mean,
the Kings couldn't afford him anyway, though, right?
No. I mean, you'd love to have him if you knew he'd be available to play all the time and things like that. It's like Jimmy Butler. I mean, I think the Kings don't want to get into a situation like the Phoenix Suns where they got 3 guys making $50 million a year, and quite honestly, Bradley Beal's not really nearly good enough.
Yeah. I'm glad you say that because we had a discussion on the show last week about Bradley Beal. Kings should try to get Bradley Beal. Wait, why would the Kings want Bradley Beal? I don't get that, Jerry. I wouldn't want Bradley Beal.
I don't see what he would how he would improve the team much. Certainly, if you could get him and they pay $45 million of his $50 million, you might consider that. But the biggest problem with Bradley is he just can't stay healthy. I mean, so being a really good player 40 games a year, I don't think feeds a bulldog very well.
Speaking of Jimmy Butler, before we get back to the Kings, Jimmy Butler caused a bit of a flap over the weekend. He said the Celtics would be at home if he was available to play in the series. He, of course, injured his knee during a play-in tournament, lost to the Sixers. And if he was playing on the Sixers instead of the Heat, they wouldn't have lost to the Knicks in the first round. Pat Riley said, if you're not on the court playing against Boston, you should keep your mouth shut.
Pat Riley cuts to the chase. No, I think Jimmy's words are ringing very hollow of late.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole year, I mean, he had 10 great games and 30 or 40 walkabouts in the regular season.
He's paying a price, right? I mean, physically, he's wearing down.
I think we've seen the best of Jimmy Butler. I really believe that.
That is pretty good.
And he's really good. And if you could, here again, if I'm Philly, if I could get him for maybe not a long-term deal, I might consider it, you know. But I mean, you got Joel limping around, and who knows how much wear is on those tires. It looks like quite a bit. So anyway,
the league's getting younger, isn't it? It seems like
younger, and I think that's well, I mean, that's Oklahoma City, Minnesota, certainly the Celtics are a fairly young team. So
I believe of the top 10 payrolls in the league, because the Clippers are out now, right? So I think there's only 3 teams in the top 10 that are still playing.
Wow.
Boston, the Knicks, and pardon me, I can't. The other one, would it be Dallas? Anyway, I think there's only 3 in the top 10. And of the 15 most highly compensated players, there's only about 5 or 6, I think, that are still playing. So.
Yeah, it's interesting, and we've talked about it before. I mean, it's clearly a changing of the guard when Curry, LeBron, and Durant aren't in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And you'd have to say, and I would say that they're not capable of leading a team as a contender again. I think the days of those guys being the best player on a championship contender are probably over.
So would that suggest then that for the Kings, staying as young as you can while you're getting better is really important, and maybe making a big swing on an older guy who's going to cost a lot of money might not be the best way to go? Maybe that's taking one of those shortcuts that typically doesn't work, other than everybody gets excited until the season starts.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Because I think this team has got a 4 or 5 year window probably. So why would you want to take now to me, if it's a 27, 28-year-old guy, I wouldn't hesitate there, because here again, it fits your window.
Yeah.
If you think they can be productive players to 31 or 2 or 3 years old, which probably can if they work hard and take care of themselves. So, but as far as getting that 32, 33-year-old guy or even 30-year-old guy that has missed a lot of games the last 2 or 3 years, well, you don't have to be a math major to figure out that, wait a minute, this isn't heading the right direction for this guy.
Right. My sources tell me that there's one big name that Jerry thinks the Kings might be wise to look into. We'll get into that when we come right back. Also get back to the phones at, as you know, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. It's The Drive, guys. Monday, Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Folsom Lake Kia.
I'm Mark Finan in the KCRA3 Weather Center. Skies will stay clear through the night tonight. Lows will drop down to the upper 40s. Tomorrow will be sunny and warmer than today, with highs in the mid-70s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA News and the KCRA3 app.
Shop Folsom Lake Kia for special offers right now. I'm Coach Doug Christie, urging you to visit my friends at Folsom Lake Kia and save big on your next new or certified pre-owned vehicle right now. Visit FolsomLakeKia.com.
Our first year as the radio home of the San Francisco 49ers is one we will never forget.
So Charles to McCaffrey, a cutback run 30, breaks 340. McCaffrey midfield. McCaffrey 40, 30, 20, and toasted all the way down to the 3-yard line. On the first play of the game, CMC Dynamite.
Congratulations to the 49ers on a terrific year. And thank you for so many wonderful memories.
Elevate your golf game at Timber Creek Golf Course in Roseville. Just named to the prestigious Golfer's Choice 2024 Top 25 Public Golf Courses in all of California by Golf Pass, Timber Creek offers an unparalleled experience. Our revamped practice facility features a grass driving range, expanded putting greens, and a chipping area complete with sand traps. Whether you're a pro or just starting your golf journey, Timber Creek is the place to be. Visit us and discover why we're the talk of Sacramento and beyond. Unwind and tee off at Timber Creek Golf Course.
Lead generation is one of the most important aspects of any marketing campaign. Let us help you identify your target audience and market your products or services to them. Go to aimyourdigital.com today. aimyourdigital.com.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jay Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPFest.com.
Brought to you by Kids Care Dental and Orthodontics, the Hot Tub Store, and Kettleman's.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out SacktownSports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on SacktownSports.com.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Woo! We don't like the Beam after Summer League wins, do we, Jerry? Jerry Reynolds with us today. Yeah. I understand that the Summer League team's going to be really good. There was a time when people might get excited about that. Now our standards are higher, but Coach Doug Christie, my understanding is, has a pretty deep Summer League team this year.
Well, Doug will do a great job with it, I can guarantee you that. And it's always good to be better in Summer League than not. But I find very little joy in Summer League.
Really?
Overall, yes. Yeah. I mean, you're hoping, I guess for me, just selfishly, looking for a couple of guys you think, boy, they could play actual minutes in the league. And that,
I remember last year, the last couple years in Summer League, watching Keon, and I felt like, he made shots in Summer League. I thought, this guy, I think he might be a player. But also last year, remember hoping, Jordan Ford, he might make the team, and he did. Now he hardly played at all, but it was nice to see him make the team.
It was nice to see him make the team, and he played what little he did play. I thought, you'd kind of like to see him trot him out there.
Dying breed, right? Pure point guard.
Who?
Him. I mean, he's kind of a dying breed.
Yeah, no, he's a real playmaker. But I understand there's only so many minutes. I know as a fan, we always say, like, see more of this guy and more of that guy. Yeah. Well, there's 240 minutes, of playing time available.
I bet as a coach, you love that, right? Hearing from your neighbors and everybody, hey, this guy should play more. Hey, that guy should play more. Don't you love that as a coach?
Oh, yeah. I just couldn't tell you, that say, oh, yeah, why'd you take that guy out? Why'd you put that guy? Why don't he play more? Well,
you don't want to say it. Sometimes it's that guy's no good.
Yeah. The better question is, why does he play at all?
339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. Lambert joining us on Sacktown Sports. Hello, Lambert. What can we do for you?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Mr. Reynolds, do you think they're going to bring back the WNBA because there's so many talented young ladies coming into the WNBA? I think they should bring back the Monarchs. What do you think?
Well, I agree with you 100%. I think the level of the women's game has improved so much. I mean, and certainly it was good when I was involved with it. But I mean, the quality of the players, their ability is probably increased and improved faster than the men's game, in my opinion. And I think it would be great to have the Monarchs back. That is just, my opinion. I really enjoyed my time with them. I know that.
Mm-hmm. I think with the WNBA expanding to the Bay Area, a Sacramento team is not likely. I mean, it'd be great, and I think we'd all love it and support it, but it's hard for me to imagine them putting a team so close to the brand new team in the Bay Area.
I think it'd be I could see it more as a rivalry. I mean, it's not like, could it work? Well, it actually, the Monarchs drew well. I mean, basically it was a case where, it wasn't making money, but it wasn't losing near as much money as every other team in the league was. It was just came at a time when the Maloofs were in really dire financial straits. And so anyway, that's a decision, for, future owners, but I think the following would be pretty good here. The only thing that's changed is, if the A's come and all in the summer, that's a one more distraction, I guess, so to speak.
Isn't it interesting? Now, we were just talking during the break about, there's, I guess we're watching NFL Live or something, and we're talking about how, wow, football, it'll be here before you know it. And Jerry said, once football season ends, no one talks about baseball. They're still talking about football. And it seems to me that right now, the WNBA, in a lot of ways, is getting more run than Major League Baseball.
Yeah, well,
that's incredible.
It is incredible. The ratings obviously were off the charts, and I mean, obviously
for the draft
and and preseason games. Now, Caitlin Clark's a big part of that, but the overall, as this gentleman just mentioned, I mean, there's a high level of players coming into the league, and so you'd hope that there'll be a carryover. I mean, once these rookies come in the league and you go through the league, kind of the schedule a little bit, will the interest still remain as high? You hope that's the case, but you have to wait and see.
I remember I had a conversation with John Feinstein once. We were doing an interview on the radio about a book that he'd written, and we were talking about how, like with Tiger, as if he was successful in any other sport, he'd make that sport popular. Point is, it's the person and the personality more than the sport. So it's Caitlin Clark is just that big of a personality. If she did something else, she'd be a popular softball player or whatever. But the game is just growing by leaps and bounds in terms of popularity because she is so popular right now. I was watching her on TV, Jerry, a couple of days ago, and I hadn't realized before how huge her hands are. And I got to think that's one of the absolute keys to her success.
Oh, I have no doubt. Like I say, obviously, people do forget a little bit the ball is a little smaller they play with. It's certainly
28.5, I think, as opposed to 29.5.
And so, with unusually large hands, better, easier control. And we just talked off air about John Stockton, and I always said that was one of his great traits. He had huge hands. He just could catch the dribble midair if somebody's trying to steal it. And I always remember, because I remember coaching against him, and it's like, oh, he can do that. It's kind of one of those eye openers. But yeah, big hands. Michael Jordan, I would say, he and Dr. J were the guys in the men's game that just had, for their size was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And that's the difference, I think, between Michael and Anthony Edwards is Michael could do with his hands things that, Kobe couldn't or Anthony Edwards can.
Remember Phantom's favorite, Connie Hawkins? He was one of the first.
Another great example.
Like a melon with one hand waving around. Ashley Ashley on Sacktown Sports. Hey, Ashley, you're on with Jerry Reynolds. Drive Guys, what's up? Ashley?
Not much.
Hey.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're on.
Okay,
fire away. Yeah.
Perfect. So I just wanted to come in. I heard Jerry Reynolds was on the show, and I think I actually got a piece of trivia he might not even know.
Uh-oh.
And that would be that Otto Graham, former NFL legendary quarterback, was actually a member of the Rochester Royals back in the 1945 season and helped us win a championship.
Is that right? Wow. I did not know that. Otto Graham.
Yeah.
I knew.
I just found that out recently.
Yeah, I certainly followed. I do remember him as a quarterback for the Browns. I was a young man who watched, of course, the great Jim Brown and Otto Graham, the dominant team of that time. So, but didn't know he was a good basketball player. It's kind of like, Bud Grant, the former great coach of the Minnesota Vikings, played on the old Minneapolis Lakers championship teams.
Here it is from Wiki. Otto Graham, after a brief stint in the military at the end of World War II, Otto Graham played for the Rochester Royals of the National Basketball League. Yeah, and then I guess, like you say, they helped them win the NBL championship. Thank you, Ashley. That's incredible trivia.
Yeah, she got me on that one.
Appreciate that. Yeah. So Otto Graham, he should have his jersey retired.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. I've been trying to get Jerry Lucas's number retired, and I
don't understand that.
You don't understand why I'm doing it?
No, I don't understand why it's not.
Yeah, I got in touch.
Of course, Rick Edelman didn't either, so there you go.
Yeah. I actually am in touch with someone whose uncle knows Jerry Lucas very well. So I have like a line to, not directly, I could probably get it, but he was Jerry Lucas's ready to do something. He's been following what's been going on. And I think the Kings, maybe if their playoff run had been longer, because I talked to the Kings about, oh, yeah, we're celebrating, 100 years, and maybe something would have happened. But I'm not giving up the ghost on that. But, Jerry Lucas is hanging around, and he's aware of what's going on, and he's ready to come out or come on the air. So,
I've always wondered why. I mean, obviously, his best years were with the Cincinnati Royals, which is obviously now he went on to play for a couple other teams and had success, but not the same level.
Yeah. So working on it, Jared.
Oh, good job. Good job.
Yeah. And I know there's a lot of people, let's face it, like Simone's like, you don't know
really,
Jerry's...
Simone? No. Simone, she knows Jerry Lucas. She's in favor.
I'm a student of history. Yeah.
Because that is going back quite a ways, but he was a good player.
He's terrific, great player.
Yeah. We were talking about stars that the Kings may be interested in. There's one in particular, as I mentioned, that I know you're kind of open to, but before we get to that one, let me ask you about a couple others that we hear about. I think we decided Jimmy Butler, you're out on, right? And
I'm out.
Yeah. How about Jeremy Grant?
I'm warming up.
Really?
Warming up. Yes, for the same reasons, that he's not old, and I wouldn't at the start of the year, I wouldn't have been as high on it, but his contract status a concern. How much better does he make you? But I do think he does make you better. I think.
Yeah.
As long as you don't have to give up, say, Keegan Murray or somebody.
Mm-hmm. We know another name that I'm sure we'll be talking about at some point. Apparently the Pelicans are not interested in offering an extension to Brandon Ingram. What do you think of Brandon Ingram?
Well, I think he'd be a great guy to get. Now, the concerns are obviously his injuries. He's been hurt a lot, and you got to be concerned there. But he is young, and he is talented. Yeah. And he's another guy that can create a shot. And you could play he and Keegan in the front line together. You'd be small, but you could create a lot of offensive problems.
Yeah. The trick there, from what we think we know, is that it doesn't look like the Pelicans, okay, maybe they don't want to up him. They don't want to extend him, but they're not tearing it down. So they're not looking like Portland would trade Jeremy Grant, presumably for draft picks and young players, because they're like, we're not going to contend for a while. But the Pelicans window is open now, so they don't want a bunch of draft picks. They want stars now, and the Kings they can't afford to trade it. They're trying to acquire more, right?
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, they're going to trade, or if they let him go, they can't. He's a free agent, so
yeah,
you just wonder if, in fact, they will do a sign and trade at some point. Would be more sensible thing if you're the Pelicans.
Yeah, worth keeping an eye on. And there's one big name in particular that Jerry says this may be the guy. And we're right back with that. Drive Guys on Sacktown Sports.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sacktown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sacktown Sports app.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave inviting you to make the switch to electric this spring and save big with American Energy. Stay ahead of those spiking energy bills this summer with up to $9,000 in rebates on a new ultra-high efficiency comfort system. American Energy is providing huge rebates from SMUD as well as spring specials by installing one of many incredibly efficient AC options available to you right now. Get rid of those fluctuating gas bills in the winter and switch to year-round all-electric with American Energy. Let them perform a free in-home energy efficiency analysis and see where they can help you save for the warmer months ahead. These guys are the best. Been serving the greater Sacramento area since 1981. A+ from the Better Business Bureau. Learn more by calling 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
In a world where everybody and their mother makes a primed trim board, contractors have to ask one question. Do I know what's under the primer? Available at just about every lumber yard you can imagine. Vintage trim boards are made from lodgepole pine. That's the stuff telephone poles and railroad ties are made of. It's durable. It's straight. It's been doing the job for generations. Manufactured right here in the USA. Ask for it by name. VintageTrimboards.com.
Seems like all this artificial intelligence stuff stirs up the age-old debate of man versus machine. Hi, it's Dan from the Good Feet store, and let me ask you, would you let a robot cut your hair? Would you rely on an app to teach a kid to ride a two-wheeler? Let's face it, some things require the human touch. People come to us seeking a solution to foot, leg, and back pain after trying all kinds of things recommended by in-store machines or website blurbs. An impersonal, generic approach to solving a problem that's unique to you. No wonder they usually don't work. At the Good Feet store, you'll meet with an arch support specialist who will take the time to learn about your needs, your feet, your lifestyle, and then fit you from over 300 models and sizes of arch supports, designed for pain relief, better balance, and more comfort.
Do you have sore feet, an aching back, or plantar fasciitis? Then get to the Good Feet store nearest you for your free arch support fitting. Good Feet arch supports are only available at the Good Feet store.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions. Attention anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, and other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-934-9217. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you with the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes, and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-934-9217 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, and other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Kyle Draper for Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. Now, I tell everybody I know they gave me the finest car shopping experience, and let me tell you why. People like me, we make the short drive from SAC to shop there because Mercedes-Benz of Stockton is well known for their stellar customer service. Now, if you've dreamed of owning your first Mercedes, you can get a pre-owned Mercedes-Benz car as low as 1.99% APR for qualified buyers. So take the short drive down the I-5, a half hour from SAC, or online at mbofstockton.com.
Nighttime is the right time to track your golf ball's flight time at the Hagen Oaks Top Tracer driving range. It's more relaxed at night with people enjoying the Top Tracer technology where you can play Pebble Beach at Hagen Oaks. You can compete against your friends in a variety of games or just practice with the Top Tracer television technology. There's food when you're hungry from the Hangout food truck or enjoy a craft beer on the brand new patio with relaxed seating. And don't forget the summer-long free concert schedule. It's the Hagen Oaks driving range nightly until midnight, Fulton Avenue at Cap City Freeway.
Sacktown Sports.
Check us out on YouTube. Search Sacktown Sports and subscribe.
Yeah, today we got Jerry Reynolds and we have Simone. We have Jay back tomorrow. Drape's still on vacation, but we got top flight. We have two starters that are helping us out off the bench today. You and Simone are.
Well, now Greg, he's on a vacation.
Drapes is on.
I mean,
vacation.
Drapes.
Yeah.
Drapes.
Yes.
From what?
From all his, doing the Kings games and doing this show and 2 jobs and blah blah blah.
That's a vacation.
I know. That's what I say, Jer. So glad to have you and Simone with us today.
Yeah, Drapes is, I guess he needs some time off.
A little bit.
Yeah, so he can bring that effort again.
That's right. Here's a question for you. Oh, it's supposed to be Whitey, ask Jerry this. All right, that's fine. Beamer, Beams, or Beamley. Whitey, ask Jerry if Sabonis is a true center and if he should shoot threes in today's league.
Well, I think
I got to ask you.
Okay.
Hey, Jerry, is Sabonis a true center? Should he be shooting threes in this league?
Well, I think he's a true center. He's not a low post per se center like some. He's more of a modern day Dave Cowens, who we were just talking about, a guy that could play from the high post, shoot some, although Dave could shoot better. But to answer your question, yeah, he should shoot more threes. He shoots 37%, which is better than most of the guards. He just doesn't shoot many, and I think he gets them, so he should shoot more of them, and he should shoot more from the elbow.
It's curious, before we get to the big name player that Jerry says he might be the guy for the Kings. we know that last year in the playoffs against the Warriors played off of Domas, and they gave him that shot, and they kind of clogged up his passing lanes. And it looked like it was obvious, right, that, well, you probably should take more of those shots. He talked about that. I remember talking to him on Media Day. I've been working on that. This year, he made those shots at a higher clip, but he didn't take as many. So even though he shot it better, he shot fewer this year, which is interesting.
Yeah, it is. And that's one of, his very few flaws is I think he's too unselfish. He's always looking for his teammates when there's times when he needs to look for that mid-range shot, because he's going to hit 60, 70% of them. I mean, and so, why not take that? And I think he needs to do that more. So, but that was a good question. I think Domas is capable of that. I wouldn't want him. I think it would take away from his game to all of a sudden become a 20 field goal attempt guy. Basically for 5 years, he's been a 12 field goal attempts, get you 19 points, shoot 60%.
Pretty efficient.
Extremely efficient, at the top area of efficiency. So, yeah, do you maybe go to 15 and hope to get 21? Well, that's probably more in range.
Yeah, that's there within this offense, isn't it? He can shoot that without disrupting the offense.
Yeah, you still want to keep the ball flowing and use him for what he's really is, other than Jokic, is the best center in the league at finding open teammates.
To me, Jared, to my eye, my untrained eye, the way the Kings ran their offense, they relied so much on the spray threes where they get the ball into Domas or they dribble penetrate, the defense collapses, and then kick it out to the corners. So they they run an offense that generates a ton of threes, but they didn't shoot it well this year.
Yeah, sometimes maybe they sprayed it too much.
Yeah, so does that mean they just had a down year, or maybe they're not as good of a shooting team as they thought they were? That's why I think shooting is one of the things that they really need going.
Well, they need scoring and shooting. Yeah, I do think that one thing that they might consider more, especially the shooters, is look, teams like New Orleans really could cover it. They'd run fake drive, get to the basket, escape dribble,
right,
get in for the good open 2-point shot. I think the analytics people are just full of crap sometimes.
Whoa.
A 60% open two. That's one of the things the Warriors were so good at during their championship runs.
With Durant especially.
Yeah, but they were great at getting in and taking high percentage 2-point shots. And it was always about their 3-point shoot, which was great. But, if it was covered, they'd find a way to get an open, make the defense pay for running out at you, challenging your shot.
Who is the big name player that you think, not perfect, but might be a guy that Kings should pursue?
Well, I've never been exactly, I was sort of a Zach LaVine fan when he's in Minnesota, but not so much in Chicago. But I know they're trying to move him, and the price would not probably be very high other than contractually you'd have to make that work. But I think for me, I'm saying this team needs athleticism. It needs scoring. It needs somebody who can create a shot. Now, Zach LaVine healthy can do all that. Now, he's a ball stopper and sometimes a little too selfish, but then again, that's where Coach Brown is very good. I think at maybe he could solve some of those, and then having Sabonis as your hub might take some of that away. But so that's why, I've softened on that, just to get actual talent that you might be able to get. And that is, all-star level talent. And now he's overpaid for what he's done lately. But so it's all about the deal.
Yeah. And first of all, as you mentioned at the top, the fact that we know he's available, that's a big factor, right? Some of these guys, we don't know what would it take to get him. You could get.
Yeah, they want
Zach
to trade.
Yeah.
They want to trade him. So, and like I say, a lot of times guys, you're catching them right where they know they need to prove something, and it's like I thought, Miami got Jimmy Butler right. And it worked for a while till it maybe didn't.
Yeah. And we know, as you know better than the rest of us, the Kings were in on Zach LaVine a few years ago. Was that was it 2016? They actually signed him to an offer sheet.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And he got more money.
Yeah.
With the Bulls. Yeah.
And so,
but that's a different regime, but it's presumably somebody with the Kings.
Well, I mean, he's, he's a talent, if you just pure talent, he's a top 40 guy in this league for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Just talent. Now, does he fit what you want? I mean, it's like a lot of guys, they're really good, but maybe it's kind of like Brandon Ingram. Maybe he's really good, but does he truly fit New Orleans? I mean, in their case, I can sort of see it. I think Murphy's a better player than him.
Yeah.
And when Zion,
phenomenal.
If Zion stays healthy, well, they've probably got enough firepower.
I know it's not our money, Jer, but next year I owe Zach LaVine. Somebody owes him $43 million. The year after that, $45.9 million. The year after that, he has a player option, which I think he'll take. I don't think he would turn down $48.9 million, and then he would be an unrestricted free agent. So I would have him for 3 seasons, but he'd be pricey.
Oh, it'd be pricey, and I mean, you wouldn't do it unless you could move some contracts and players to make it work financially for you. Number one, and then I think maybe equally important, you'd have to make sure your doctors and medical staff sign off on it, because he's got to be ready day one to go and feel like that, the worst is behind him.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We'll take a quick timeout, come back with more on why Jerry says Zach LaVine may be the guy the Kings need. Also, we'll look at what about Cat in New Orleans, and should the Kings be all in on Brandon Ingram? We're getting somewhere on this Kings puzzle with Jerry Reynolds today. Drive Guy, Sacktown Sports.
Subscribe to Sacktown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus view archive shows and exclusive content.
Subscribe at youtube.com/Sacktown Sports.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
The IRS finally caught up with Louie.
I hadn't paid my taxes in 8 years. I owe the IRS a lot of money.
Louie was in deep trouble.
We're going to take your house, put a lien on your bank account, garnish your pay. They don't care. They're going to take your paycheck.
Louie found out about Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. 8+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima Tax, they help me. They calm me down. They make me feel comfortable, and I trust them.
Louie has a lot to be thankful for.
I don't owe the IRS anymore, and I'm able to live a comfortable life, a lot better life. It was because of Optima Tax.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation. Take it from Louie.
If you owe the IRS, don't go it alone. Give Optima Tax a call. They can help you.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Capital Casino has been serving the greater Sacramento area in the same convenient downtown location for over 20 years, with plenty of close-by, well-lit parking monitored by security staff and offering the most variety of table games in the region in a safe and friendly environment. Best food, best service, and the best action That's Capital Casino. For more information on tournaments and gaming, check out their website at capital-casino.com. And please remember to gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Hi, everyone. It's Emron Pilati, host of the True Sports Card Show here on Sacktown Sports 1140 every Saturday at 10 a.m. Would you like a chance to meet Ricky Henderson, Dennis Rodman, Johnny Manziel, Randy Johnson, Frank Thomas, Vlad Guerrero Sr., Dave Stewart, and our favorite Malik Monk, and meet over 90 sports card dealers all in one weekend? This is your chance to do it on May 17th through the 19th at the Roseville Fairgrounds at the Sacramento Autograph Expo. You can get all the information about the show on our website at sacautograph.expo.com. That's sacautograph.expo.com.
The Arnold Law Firm has seen how an injury can turn anyone's life upside down. Whether it's a slip and fall, a car accident, or any other kind of injury. For almost 50 years, the Arnold Law Firm has been here to help you through the entire process to protect you and your family. If you are ever injured or in an accident, call the Arnold Law Firm. The Arnold Law Firm, providing real justice for you since 1975. Call 916-777-7777. That's 916-777-7777.
Thunder, feel the thunder.
It ignites something inside of you.
Lightning and the thunder.
Sets alight an elevated state of being. Days are pure exhilaration. And the nights, they're simply electric. See it, hear it, feel it.
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
Thunder Valley Casino Resort. Feel the thunder.
The Amish have a reputation for craftsmanship, determination, and quality. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. You know, those virtues sound quite similar to the Keys family and the day-to-day values on display at Naturewood. The Amish furniture craftsmanship begins with the finest hardwood, shaping and molding the raw materials into one-of-a-kind art. In addition to the classic styles long sought and revered by discriminating furniture lovers, Naturewood Home Furnishings offers a vast selection that includes transitional, modern, farmhouse, arts and crafts, and other stunning styles, all available in the ultimate Amish standard of excellence built over centuries. Let the Naturewood team guide you through their selection of Amish furniture that will be with you forever. Naturewood Home Furnishings, off Highway 50 at Hazel. Look for the water wheel.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jay Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPFest.com.
Brought to you by Kids Care Dental and Orthodontics, the Hot Tub Store, and Kettleman's.
This segment is brought to you by Kia Vacville. Check them out at KiaVacville.com.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Take it on the local level. Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, Sacktown Sports. Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sacktown Sports.
We're looking at this crucial offseason for the Kings with Jerry Reynolds today. We have Jerry Reynolds and Simone with Jay back tomorrow and Kyle Draper on vacation for, I'm not sure if he's back Friday or not, but I'll find out for you.
Well, he's got to unwind now. Don't rush him.
I think at one point he was going to go to Vegas with Jay, and that,
well, that's good. That didn't work out. That could have led to all kinds of problems.
Trouble.
Maybe so. So glad you're with us today. And moments ago, Jerry said, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but basically never been a big Zach LaVine guy, but Zach LaVine might be a really good fit for the Kings right now. Correct?
Well, yeah, you got to kind of try to be creative as you can. The Kings don't have a lot of ways of improving, so there's probably going to have to be some risks. Now, the biggest risk with Zach, besides health, is contract. Cha-ching. And so you couldn't possibly get into that unless you could, basically make it work contractually. And of course, which means get rid of contracts very similar, but you'd have to combine them. And then so you're losing depth, but maybe gaining star power. And I think it's always
we can jump on the trade machine if you want us to try to find something that's going to work.
Well, I pretty well know what could work, but
how many players would it take, you think? 4?
3 would do it, because it just definitely 3 could do it. Maybe even 2.
Really?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not at all sure that Herder and Barnes wouldn't do it.
Okay, we'll check on that. Yeah,
I mean, you might have to, you might have to add something there. I don't know, but I mean, that's the risk, is the money. But I always say, in a trade, if you come out of it and the money's the same and the length is pretty much the same, which it would be, who's getting the best player? Well, if he's healthy and you expect him to be healthy for a while, well, you're getting the most talented player.
Right.
Not saying it'd be a better fit than either one of those guys, because you don't know. But then again, you've got a quality coach. You've got some established stars, guys. The Fox and Sabonis, he'd have to know he's got to fit in.
And he's on record as stating that he would like to come here.
Yeah.
Which, unfortunately, let's face it.
He's a California guy.
Yeah. And that has been an issue in the past for some guys with the Kings, and things have changed now. But for him to come out and say, yeah, I'd like to be there, that's good. I know that last year around the deadline, there were stories out of Chicago suggesting that the Bulls were having a hard time moving him, and they might have to attach assets to him. Now, that was before the deadline, and maybe that's changed now that you're not looking at the deadline. But if the Kings could get Zach LaVine without having to give up any first-round picks and maybe even get something back, that I'm with you. That looks like that might be the way to go.
Well, that'd be the key. Is I wouldn't give up a first-round pick. I mean, if you couldn't do it, otherwise, some other way, because and like I say, you just have to really do your homework on the health issues. Because obviously he's missed time due to health.
Yeah.
Now, I think he probably could have came back. They were at the point where they'd already moved on. Kobe White had become the guy for them, and as an offensive player.
Not trading Keegan for him.
Nope.
How about we know that Minnesota, and they're playing Denver tonight. Minnesota leading 1-0 in that series, and Minnesota playing well. Rudy Gobert's not expected to play tonight because his wife just had a child, so he's not expected to play. But we know that the potential new ownership in Minneapolis has said, if we get in there, we're going to cut payroll. And that may be one of the reasons they're having this dispute now between the A-Rod's group and Glenn Taylor. But they've made it known they plan to cut payroll. If they do, one of the guys who could be cut loose, I mean, if Karl Anthony Towns were available and you're the Kings, what do you think?
Well, I think especially with Sabonis, he'd be a great fit.
Yeah,
because I mean, he's really a power forward can shoot as well as any guard in the league, which he's won the 3-point contest, which proves that. So, and he's young.
I mean, it's hard to imagine him just being like, "Here, you can have him." But if they're going to address the salary crunch, it's probably going to be a good player somewhere that they're going to have to part ways with.
Yeah, here again, the problem for the Kings would be creating enough room to take on his salary. Because you have to have cap room.
Yeah.
And so that would be tough, no question. And at some point, you got to probably re-sign Keegan and some guys. So there's there's a lot of issues there, but it'd be one guy that you'd say, oh, sure. If there's a deal to be made, and not saying there is, because I think be about 10 to 15 other teams that have more room and more assets available.
That's a key point. And I mentioned this last week. The way I'd been looking at it, Jerry, was what do the Kings have available? What does another team, who's available? And I forgot about, there's a bunch of other teams also that if this team has somebody available you like, well, then there's a lot of other teams that like them too. And how do your assets match up against theirs? And it's not always favorable for the Kings.
No, I think Kings are in a tougher spot than just about everybody that way. But there's teams that really have enough cap room, they could almost take him and give him other things. So if that's what the T-Wolves want to do, I suspect that, I just can't see that as a very wise move on their part, to be honest with you.
I know.
I just think that might be, a little bit of, shooting one over the bow to maybe make guys think in terms of less money going forward.
Yeah, I'm with you. How about, we talked about already, Brandon Ingram, apparently New Orleans doesn't want to extend him. So if they don't want to extend him, they might want to trade him this summer. And the Kings would be, they wouldn't be in a great position to make a competitive offer, but would you be interested in Brandon Ingram?
Sure. And like I say, you wouldn't have room to take him on. So the only way, and I don't know what's going to happen there, but I can't imagine them not at least sign and trade deal with him. I mean, you can't lose an asset like that for nothing just because you don't want to pay him. I mean, I thought that was one of the mistakes of the Kings franchise some years ago when let Bogdanovich walk.
Yeah.
Just for money.
Yeah.
Because he was an asset. And even if you thought he's had to overpay to keep him, you could have still traded him because there's half dozen teams wanted him.
6 Man of the Year candidate this year.
Yeah. I mean, he's had good, he's had 3 good years there.
Yeah. Brandon Ingram, he's not healthy very much, but that seems to be a recurring theme with some of these guys that the Kings might be in on, huh?
Yeah, that's the risk. And today's game, geez, it's just the injuries are such a factor, and I mean, and nobody gets hurt on purpose, but if you're really counting on a guy, and that's why the Kings have been so lucky to have their key guys like, for the most part, Domas and Keegan and Fox and Monk, they've been healthy. And of course, and that's one of the great things about Harrison Barnes. He doesn't miss games.
Yeah. But as you say, he doesn't get credit for it, does he?
No.
Yeah,
not one bit.
Jerry Reynolds in with us today. It's a drive, guys, and we're just trying to piece together the Kings' moves for this offseason. One thing we agree on is you could get a pretty good player at 13.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent chance of that. I mean, just like say going on history, it also means you could get a total bust too,
right?
Based on history. But some of the best players in the league were picked down there in the history of the league.
Yeah, and just because it's supposedly a weak draft doesn't mean that that's nothing. There's a chance for the Kings to get a really decent to maybe pretty good player there. And you're in the mode now of acquiring young talent, right? Anytime you get a chance for the Kings we can acquire young talent and it's not that expensive, well, then you have to do that. That's where you are right now.
Get more talent. It's a talent league. And really in the West, it's getting more and more of a talent league and a younger talent league. So obviously the Kings, they're looking at Oklahoma City, Minnesota saying, uh-oh.
A lot of teams are looking at those. A lot of teams in the West. Golden State right now, they're also facing a lot of these questions. I know we don't worry about them. They got their own problems, but they're facing a lot of existential questions this offseason.
Yeah,
Lakers.
For a team, Lakers and Golden State, teams that want to compete for championships, well, they're a long way from the championship contenders. And then you got, I always say it's the other teams now. Memphis is going to get John Morant back.
I know.
They're going to get a bunch of guys back, and they were one of the better young teams 2 years ago. And so you got to think. And then Houston Rockets, at the second half of the year, they were about as good as anybody. And then San Antonio, when Manana they get a couple of pieces with him.
Were you surprised they didn't win more games this year?
Yes,
I was.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's why, I just can't give him quite as much credit. He made them 2 games better. Well, greats of the past had more impact.
Yes. Yes.
And so I'm, it's a wait and see. It's not, what it tells me is that, yes, he can be a great player, an all-star, but he isn't yet. He is not Jabbar. He's not Bird. He's not David Robinson. He's not Olajuwon or Jordan, James, those guys, because they made their teams anywhere from 10 games to 30 games better.
He takes a lot of bad shots, Jer, if I may nitpick. I'd love to have him. He's phenomenal, but his shot selection to me is a little iffy.
Oh, more than iffy. And it's even the shots. It's like, say, yeah, he can take and make 25-footers, but 2/3 of the guards in the league can do that and do it better.
That's right. Look at me. I'm a tall guy. I can make shots. Yeah, but just because you can doesn't mean you should.
So we'll be interesting to see what Pop does next year, because I know this was just a play it through the year league, and kind of getting him adjusted, but, try to get more talent. They'll have a nice draft pick or to trade or whatever. But
they might have Malik Monk, right? They might.
Well, that'd make them better, darn it.
Oh, quick! We'll take, I should say, a quick timeout. When we come right back, how good are the Kings right now? The window is open. The window to what exactly? With Jerry Reynolds and Simone, Sacktown Sports.
De'Aaron Fox plays here.
Stolen by Fox. Breakaway coming up for De'Aaron. And a simple, casual spike with the left hand. The Kings lead by 3.
Sacktown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies candidates with the right skills, sends you great matches, then you can easily invite them to apply. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. See for yourself. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Flo here from Progressive to tell you how you get more than great savings with us. You get customer service access through our mobile app, online chat, or by phone.
That's a lot of ways I can get in touch with you. I see what's going on here. You can't name favorites, but I'm your #1 customer.
Actually, we offer all our customers these ways to contact us.
I'm sure you give just any customer your personal
company
contact info.
Well, you did call us more than any other customer this year. So in that sense, you are our #1 customer.
Get help from Progressive through the website, app, chat, or phone. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
Jerry Reynolds is with us. Jerry, if I'm not mistaken, your favorite basketball show is Inside the NBA with the TNT guys?
I do enjoy it, not for basketball, just for personalities.
Right.
You know, I mean, because Charles and Shaq will, basketball-wise, will say something that makes sense about every 10th time, but they're entertaining as heck, and they're good guys. They're legitimately good guys, both of them.
What about the former King, Kenny Smith? I mean, he gets kind of professorial on that show.
Well, he would have to feel like he's the sharpest basketball guy on that show. I think there's reason. And Kenny, you know, Kenny studies the game. You know, I mean, he actually watches games, and I'm pretty sure Charles and Shaq don't watch that many.
Why didn't Kenny Smith become the player Bill Russell thought he could be? Or maybe did he?
Well, I don't think he quite did, but I mean, he had great success because time he got to Houston, he was ready to be a player. You know, he'd bounced around, from us to Atlanta, waived him. Actually, we traded him, and then went to Denver, and I think they waived him.
Wow!
And then Houston picked him up, and of course, I think Kenny had matured to realize a lot of things. To his credit, he's a smart guy, and he got to play with Olajuwon.
Yeah.
And basically Olajuwon drew double teams, and guys got to shoot open threes, and Kenny could shoot open threes.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, a lot of it's timing. It really is. I mean, I've always said, Steve Kerr, as good as he was, John Sundvold was every bit as good, and nobody knows who John Sundvold was. Because he went to bad teams and struggled, and so it's a lot of it's being in the right place. If you're not a major star, a major star will always find their way.
Yeah. Well, when did the Kings draft Kenny? Was it 7th or something like that? I guess at the time, coming out of North Carolina, there was some thought that he could become a major star, right?
Yeah, no, and like I say, he wasn't a bad pick because he was better than some guys that went in front of him. But I always say he wasn't as good as the guy that went behind him by the name of Kevin Johnson.
Right.
And Kevin always made sure that he destroyed Kenny.
Sacramento's own Kevin Johnson.
Yes. Kevin, boy, he was just, and Kevin's great. He should be in the Hall of Fame. But I mean, he was just no disrespect to Kenny at all, because Kenny was good, very good. But Kevin was way better. And, that was a mistake that was made.
So Kenny Smith being smart enough to realize, if I throw the ball to Olajuwon, we're going to be pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I think Rudy Tomjanovich probably implored him to do that. But, Kenny could always make some shots, and he knew how to play. But I think what besides the Olajuwon thing, I think Rudy was good about basically they became more of a half-court team, and Kenny hadn't really played that way. He'd been more of an up-tempo all the time, and he'd get into situations that weren't the best for him. So it's just perfect timing.
Charles Barkley had some interesting things to say about LeBron, which we'll get to bottom of the hour. But we're talking with Jerry Reynolds here about the Kings and this window. How close are the Kings to being really good, really a competitive team? That has a lot to do with what moves they decide to make, right? I don't think they're close enough to make that go out, get one guy, and boom, you're set, that I think some fans want them to make.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I think they're a couple of players away. I really do. I'd like to be wrong. You'd like to say, well, bring the same guys back and win 55 games. Well, I don't believe that's going to be the case because the West is too good. I think they've got some great pieces to build around. And again, like an earlier caller talked about, there is a lot of similarities between the early 2000s when the team turned from really got to being a playoff team and then became a contender, but it took about 4 years to get there. And I think that, and then certainly in year 2, they weren't there. Year 3 got better. And then the 4th year, because by adding, Doug Christie, Mike Bibby to a threesome of Page of Vlade and
to me, the big difference, and obviously, hindsight is 2020, but that team from early on, to me, they knew what they could be, and they had such great passing, especially perimeter passing, and they knew that whatever they were going to get done, they're going to get it done mostly offensively. This team, to me, there were times this year in which it seemed like they weren't sure what their best path forward was. I guess that has to do with, identity. That, like I say, the other Kings team from the past ended up being so good, maybe it seems clearer than it was. But to me, they knew what they were doing. This Kings team is still sometimes trying to figure that out.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair statement. I think it's also true of that team in its second year. Exactly the same thing because, Corliss was a starting small forward. I think Nick Anderson and Jason Williams was the starting guards, I think, at that time. Well,
was that Olivier St. John for Nick Anderson?
Olivier St. John was I think
Tyreke Evans.
Yes.
Became
up.
Yeah.
And so then, I think that was, the first year. I think maybe the next year was Nick Anderson.
Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, it wasn't the answer.
Right.
They didn't have the answer at that guard position, and they really didn't have the answer at small forward because that wasn't really Corliss's best position, and Page wasn't quite ready. And so it was pretty clear, or at least I think Jeff Petrie and Rick Adelman felt, okay, we need to get better at the 2 guard and the 3 spot. Well, they did by that one move of getting Christie for Williamson, then allowed Page to be the natural small forward that he was. And of course, it really helped Corliss too become, a terrific player. And they, of course, still had Jay Will and Christie. That was a real good team. It's 55-win team. But that problem they saw then, and rightly so, as good as Jay Will was at that time, he was so immature and kind of getting into stuff off the court and everything. They just needed a more stable player and especially with Christie's ability, which he showed where he could run the team. And so Mike Bibby, who could also run a team, but also he's more of a scorer. It was a perfect fit. And so then you're in place. But it was 2 moves, but the key I think was just as much was we got a Page of Vlade Webb. Those guys, we know who they are, what they are, and where we can go with them. Let's get guys with them that complement them.
And as I remember you telling us, and I remember at the time, the Kings had those 2 guards, Bibby, Christie, both could run a team, but also they ran so much of the offense through Weber, right?
Right, Weber and Vlade equally, I'd say. Yeah, and that was, of course, great coaching by Rick Adelman and really, again, utilizing your players. I mean, Page was great off the ball, moving without the ball, and really so was Bibby to get shots.
Yeah, see, to me, and people may get mad at this, but I don't care. Sabonis puts up big assist numbers. He's a really good passer, but just going back to like Webb and Vlade, and some people compare Sabonis to Jokic. He's not that type of passer. He's a good passer, but he's nothing like those guys.
I think he's kind of a Brad Miller. I do think that, and I think he's, I think if he had the same guys to pass to,
really,
yeah, I think he's, I think he's awfully good passer. I mean, he doesn't have, Page and Bibby and Webb to pass to if you're Vlade, that type thing. So, that makes a difference. I always say it's always tough to get assists thrown at the open shooters if they don't make the shots.
I noticed. You've told me that, and I've checked, and you're right.
Yeah. And it's like same thing about rebounding. A lot of times that people say, well, the Kings aren't rebounding. Well, no, they're getting scored on. There's no rebounds to get.
No rebounds to be had. That's like that one of those Pelican games when they were here. They were out rebounded 55-24 or something like that. Why couldn't they beat the Pelicans at all, ever?
That is hard to figure, ever. I mean, I understand the Pelicans, clearly in my mind, are better. The Pelicans are a better team. They just had more depth, more athleticism, more length, everything the Kings wanted to have.
But you figure they're going to have a night where the ball just doesn't go in.
Yeah, you figure.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. And they had key guys out sometimes.
Yes.
I mean, so there's no excuse except that the only excuse is the one nobody wants to say. They're better.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to say that.
Yeah,
they're better.
I know. How do you explain? We've talked about this a lot. I know the fact that the Kings had so many of those games where it's like, where are they against bad teams this year? Where they just, we could list them. We all know the games we're talking about: Portland and Charlotte and Detroit. How did that happen? Were they not as good as we thought? I know Harrison Barnes said we didn't bring the right mindset, which is a little alarming. What the heck happened?
That's for me, as much as I enjoyed this team, and I really have enjoyed these last 2 years, a team is unselfish. They play together. They like one another. But those, especially home losses to bad teams, I mean, really bad teams, Detroit and Charlotte come to mind. Now, I don't see the Bulls or Rockets quite in that same category. They're good teams, fairly good teams. And those things happen in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
But those two losses, I mean, you can't explain them. And Washington, I mean, you had 3 losses there at home. A loss to a bad team on the road happens. It happens to Boston. It happens to Denver. It happens to all of them. Each fan base thinks it only happens to their team, but it happens to everybody. But those 3 are inexcusable.
Mm-hmm.
How that happened, and those 3 difference between, as the year turned out. So I don't have an answer other than, the old thing, if you're not ready to play, well, get ready.
Yeah.
Get what the hell here.
I know. It was very strange.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think but that might be the time, as a coach, you say, well, you can almost feel the problem.
Mm-hmm.
That might be a time for the old come to Jesus talk here before the game.
You ever have to do that as a coach?
No, I did it too much.
Jesus had to come to you and say, stop doing the come to Jesus.
Yeah, we needed some healing.
Tell you why Chuck wants LeBron to retire soon. Next with the Drive Guys on Sacktown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sacktown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Cox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sacktown Sports and SacktownSports.com.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by the Arnold Law Firm.
I'm Mark Finan in the KCRA3 Weather Center. Skies will stay clear through the night tonight. Lows will drop down to the upper 40s. Tomorrow will be sunny and warmer than today, with highs in the mid-70s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA News and the KCRA3 app.
The Arnold Law Firm has seen how a collision can turn anyone's life upside down in a heartbeat. So remember to be a little more alert on the road and stay safe. The Arnold Law Firm, providing real justice for you since 1975. Call 916-777-7777.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Kyle Draper here from Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. I tell everybody I know this is the greatest place ever to get yourself a new or pre-owned Mercedes-Benz. Their dedication to their customers is just incredible. And if you're a business owner, well, you need to know that this is also a Mercedes commercial van sales and service center. That's right, Mercedes-Benz vans, they are rugged. They'll haul anything you can put in them. And best of all, buying a Mercedes Sprinter van for work qualifies you for very generous tax breaks. I mean, who doesn't love a tax break, right? Well, 2023 Sprinters are available at rates as low as 4.9% APR. Mercedes-Benz of Stockton, I'm telling you, you got to see their beautiful new showroom also. It's where I got my EQS, and I tell everybody I know that if you're going to roll in a Mercedes-Benz, get it from my good friends in Stockton. It's just a short drive right off the 5, a half hour from Sac, right at the 8 Mile Road exit. So head there right now or go online at mbofstockton.com.
I'm Tiffany, founder of Harlem Pilates. When I couldn't find Pilates in my neighborhood, I started a studio from my studio apartment. Chase Inc. helped me grow from 1 Pilates studio to 3. Because when you start small, you're going to need some big help.
With the Chase Inc. Business Cash Card, you can earn up to 5% cash back on business essentials, so your business can go from here to possible. Chase for business. Make more of what's yours. Real business owner compensated for their participation. Cards issued by J.P. Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC. Subject to credit approval. Terms apply.
Do you hear that? That's your air conditioner working overtime this summer. But it's not just the temperature that's rising, so is your electric bill. Stop paying sky-higher rates for your electricity with a solar electric system from Aztec Solar. Finally, you can calculate your monthly savings when you go solar without sitting through a 2-hour in-home sales pitch. Visit yourpowersavings.com and Aztec Solar will text you how much you'll save each month by going solar. Since 1980, Aztec Solar has helped thousands of homeowners with solar pool heating, solar electricity, and backup energy storage. Going solar is like getting an extra paycheck every month. How much will your paycheck be? Find out at yourpowersavings.com. Yourpowersavings.com. Looking for a deal today? Now you can own a solar electric system for just $99.95 cash offer after incentives. Act now. This offer expires soon. Aztec Solar. Solar and only solar since 1980.
Kevin Lewis with National Garage Door, reminding you that in Sacramento, National Garage Door is the king of garage doors. We service, sell, and install garage doors and openers. Call us today for your basketball special. A new 16x7 Rainer garage door with installation and a belt drive opener for only $24.49 installed. Give us a call today, 916-638-4554.
638-4554 National Garage Door.
Guys, are you still dealing with loss of energy, poor sleep, weight gain, and even ED? Revive Men's Health Sacramento offers guaranteed low T and ED treatments. And this month only, qualified patients get a free 1-month supply of personalized ED medication, plus a free ED treatment producing immediate results. Availability is limited. Book your free exam and consultation today. Call 916-365-4566. That's 916-365-4566 or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions. Attention anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, and other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-934-9217. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you with the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-934-9217 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, and other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217. 800-934-9217.
All guests come to you from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Hey, guess what? The NBA Rookie of the Year is Victor Wembanyama. How about that? Can you believe that? Stunner.
My gosh. I'm just amazed.
Yeah, he was named the Rookie of the Year. He got all 99 first-place votes. Chet Holmgren was second. Last season's number 2 pick, Brandon Miller, came in third place. So Victor Wembanyama becomes the 6th unanimous Rookie of the Year in NBA history. Do you care to try to name any of them? And you don't have to. It's fine if you don't want to.
Well, I'd be willing to bet Wesley Unseld was one of them.
Let's see. Apparently he was not.
LeBron James, Michael Jordan.
6 unanimous Rookie of the Year, joining Ralph Sampson, David Robinson, Blake Griffin, Damian Lillard, Karl Anthony Towns.
Whoa.
So all that means is some of the voters in those years you mentioned.
Well, I'd like to. It'd be interesting to know what voter didn't vote for. Wesley Unseld was voted MVP as a rookie, but he wasn't the most valuable. I didn't get unanimous Rookie of the Year. It's
Victor Wembanyama became only the second rookie in NBA history to lead the league in blocks. Remember, blocks only became official in 1974. I'll give you the year. This is not an easy one. The other guy to do it, remember, he doesn't mean he was Rookie of the Year, but second rookie to lead the league in blocks. The first did it in 1985-86.
85-86.
Yes. And he was very tall. And he played with one time with one of the shorter guys in the league. Did it with Washington.
Oh.
And his son is in the league now. His son.
Oh, George Muresan?
No, it's Manute Bol.
Oh, that's right. He started at Washington, didn't he?
Yes, Manute Bol. 4.81 steals and blocks per game are the most. They call that's a thing now, Jerry. That's stocks. Steals and blocks, they call it stocks, and they put them together.
Oh, no, please don't.
Yeah. So Victor Wembanyama, not only Rookie of the Year, one of 3 finalists for Defensive Player of the Year, along with Rudy Gobert and Bam Adebayo.
Well, I'll take Bam Adebayo right now.
Unanimous Rookie of the Year, Victor Wembanyama. So why weren't they better? Maybe that's not fair, but it is. I mean, it's.
No, it's fair.
Okay.
They should have been better. And if he's, in other words, I'm not saying he's not going to be an all-time great, because I think he will be. But as we were talking off air, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar made his team 25 games better his rookie year. Larry Bird made his team 30 games better his rookie year. LeBron James made his 15 games better. Jordan made his 15 better. David Robinson made his 25 better. So I guess I'll ask you, why didn't he do more?
Because he's still learning the game.
Okay.
So he wasn't even though the numbers were incredible, he was inconsistent in terms of how impactful he was.
Yeah, I think it's somewhat true, but it's also true that, all-time greats generally have more of an impact.
Yes.
So we can say, I think very clearly, that he has not established all-time greatness yet. Or now, I think we'll see by the time his third year, I think we'll see that. But those guys showed it day one.
Mm-hmm.
Walked in the gym, put on some shoes, went out there and
yes.
And here I am, adjust.
And he had the numbers and he's a fine player, but overall, I remember when they came here, their last trip through, if I'm not mistaken, he didn't play and the Spurs still almost won. Devin Vassell went nuts.
Yeah, Devin Vassell. Yeah, he's kind of a merging player.
So they had some good players on that team. I don't understand it.
I don't really either.
Keldon Johnson's good.
Yep. They should have been better. Now, I don't know how much of that was Pop almost wanting to keep them where they are, knowing that they don't, really not good enough anyway. Could they have won 27 or 8 games? Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm.
But so get a little better draft choice, be in a position, got cap room. So if they're not significantly better, which is, if as a Kings fan, why you should be worried, because that's another team that is going to be very different looking next year.
There's a theory out of San Antonio, and this I read out of the San Antonio paper, and it's not like, oh, no one actually said this. Just people observing the Spurs wondered if maybe, think early in the year, remember Wemby wanted to be at the 4. He didn't want to play center. And it wasn't until he started playing center that they kind of started playing better. Pop was like, okay. And some people think Pop let him play at the 4 so he could see firsthand why it wouldn't work.
Probably. Yeah, it makes perfect sense, knowing Pop.
Rather than, no, you're not playing. It's like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
oh, it's not working? Well, we'll have to play at the 5.
Yeah, sometimes, and he had a year to do that. So I think, like I say, if it had been a case, so my guess is, Pop will, bring him into the fold here, and certainly, the things he can do for 7-4 are remarkable on the wing. But like we said earlier, but most wing players can do the same things better. So why do you need a 7'4" guy doing that? You need to have him doing things around the basket in the 8 to 10 foot area that no other big player in the league can do. Period.
One of the things I think I'll always remember about his rookie years, I don't remember who they're playing, but he has the ball with his back to the basket. He's at the bottom of the circle, which is 10 feet from the basket, right? He turns around and dunks it. And I was just like, you can't do that from there. He was at the bottom of the circle, turns around and just reaches down and reaches up and slams it down.
Yeah, every game you'd see something he did athletically he did that nobody else could do or ever has done, maybe. That sort of thing. I mean, he's remarkable, and I think they'll get it sorted out. Like I say, I just think, okay, you got to, if you want to put him in the same vicinity of all-time greats, you can't do that yet. Just can't do it.
Yeah, and I really don't know the answer to your question. I'm just guessing. Why weren't they better? I don't know. I remember early in the year, they went into Phoenix, and it was one of those baseball type series.
Yes.
And they won back-to-back games in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And I remember asking you, it was like, they should be a playoff team, right? And I think you said, yeah. And I thought, yeah. And
I thought earlier in the year, that's what we were going to see. And maybe it scared Pop, and he had to, he had to hold, kind of like a jockey holding the bridle back.
Maybe, but you only have for sure, 5 years with him for sure?
For sure.
Yeah. So I would think you would want to maximize that, but Pop's smarter than me. So we'll see.
He's smarter than both of us. So
Simone too?
Not Simone.
Okay.
Not Simone.
All right.
No,
Okay.
no,
I thought I was pushing it.
But the really reality is, with restricted free agency and stuff, he can't go anywhere if they don't, not for a long time.
Right. They got time to build it up. So you're looking behind you.
Other than, Kings. If you got a guy that's going to be a James Harden or Anthony Davis that are going to become, one out and create problems. You would be surprised to see that, and that seems like a very stable young person.
So the Spurs are scary when the Kings look in the rearview mirror, but I'm still more scared of Memphis right now.
And Houston. Houston, like I said, the last 40 games, they were well above 500.
Yeah, they gave the Warriors a little run for the 10th spot.
Yeah, and they got, well coached. And St. John, really a young star type center, was hurt during that period.
I know. And then, they played pretty well without him initially.
And they played pretty well without him. So, but I mean, just from a talent level, I mean, they're close.
So congratulations to Victor Wembanyama, the rookie of the year. And maybe this time next year, we'll be looking at a Sacramento King player, at least finishing somewhere in the voting.
Maybe first.
Maybe.
Yeah. It can happen.
Do you have it? Is there anybody you saw in college that you liked this year? And I know
there's some guys I liked. I don't think they'd be, probably not.
Did you see McCain at all with Duke? Because he's a guy that could be there.
Who?
McCain, a guard, Jared McCain.
Yeah, he's all right. And the big power forward, I can't, Peplowski or somebody like Filipowski.
Yeah, with Duke. Yeah.
He's interesting.
He could be there.
He could be there. I don't know if he's
Zach Edey almost certainly will be there.
Zach Edey could be there, and that's interesting. I mean, I'm not sure I wouldn't take a flyer on that. I mean, 7'4" can score.
Now, if you were running the draft and you had a shot, I don't think the Kings would, but they might. Second round, and Bronny's there. Do you take Bronny just to kind of force LeBron in the Lakers' hand?
No.
No chance. Huh?
No. Okay. No, I think the kid needs to stay in college and play. I mean, or because if you sign Bronny, you're probably signing him to a two-way contract at this stage.
Yeah.
And
but I don't really want him. I just want his dad. I want to see what his dad will do.
Well, I'm not sure you still can't get his dad unless his dad's going to come for.
Especially because he can make $1 million staying in college now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that really changed. I mean, to me, it's like a lot of the college players, it's like, if you're not going to be a lottery pick, you might ought to stay another year, and the only risk is injury, but then you could get insurance to protect yourself.
Yeah. And you get the NIL money. And as promised here, we'll come back with, speaking of LeBron, why Chuck says he hopes LeBron retires soon with the Drive Guys. Jerry Reynolds today, Sacktown Sports.
What's the missing piece for the 49ers?
Which names will they add during free agency? Whether it's in season or off season, the coverage never stops. Get the latest 49ers news on Sacktown Sports at sacktownsports.com.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Bonnie.
I'm Mark Finan in the KCRA3 Weather Center. Skies will stay clear through the night tonight. Lows will drop down to the upper 40s. Tomorrow will be sunny and warmer than today with highs in the mid-70s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA News and the KCRA3 app.
It's been said an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And when it comes to a nice, cool summer, it's so true. Right now, get a complete air conditioner tune-up for just $59. Bonnie. Plumbing, sewer, electrical, heating, and air. Bonnie.com. Some restrictions apply. License 696355.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals, and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in your best interest.
So how do your management fees work?
We have a simple management fee based on the value of your portfolio. So we do better when you do better.
We appreciate that kind of transparency.
We also check in with you regularly to keep you up to date on the markets and your portfolio.
Well, what other services do you offer?
As a client, you have access to resources on investing, financial planning, estate planning, Social Security, Medicare, and more.
Wow, sounds like Fisher Investments has everything we need.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Want to keep your gas-powered engines running like new? Stable's proprietary formulas are proven by third-party testing to outperform the competition in keeping fuel fresh, preventing corrosion, and cleaning the entire fuel system. With Stable, you can have confidence you are doing the right thing for your engine's long-term health. Just pour into your gas can or fuel tank, then top off with fresh fuel. At every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable. Available where fuel additives are sold.
It's a mystery where Old Spice finds its amazing scents like Himalayan sea salt, but I'm thrilled they have because no other body wash exfoliates and moisturizes 24/7 like Old Spice Gentleman's Himalayan sea salt body wash. Now, if only there was a mountain range separating the Indian subcontinent from the Tibetan plateau where I could hide my Old Spice and keep my family from stealing it, my impossibly smooth skin will finally be safe.
Progressive asks, what do a middle school slumber party,
Let's stay up all night. Yeah!
a sleep-deprived girl, an early morning paper route, and a poorly thrown rolled-up newspaper have in common?
Hey, my window!
They can become a fast-breaking news story.
Sorry, Mr. Thompson.
Bundle your home and auto with Progressive for great savings and round-the-clock protection.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Sorry, but we actually have a wait list for our Monstera.
Shaw's greenhouse is really bringing in the green.
We can't keep snake plants in stock.
She needs a construction manager to build on her roots and grow.
We could add a whole section for ferns. Here we'd have dahlias, dahlias, and more dahlias.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
The Arnold Law Firm has seen how an injury can turn anyone's life upside down. Whether it's a slip and fall, a car accident, or any other kind of injury. For almost 50 years, the Arnold Law Firm has been here to help you through the entire process to protect you and your family. If you are ever injured or in an accident, call the Arnold Law Firm. The Arnold Law Firm, providing real justice for you since 1975. Call 916-777-7777. That's 916-777-7777.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729, or visit us at PowerCopier.com.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sacktown Sports.
Well, here we go, Jerry. We have the answer to your question. How come as good as Wembanyama was, how come the Spurs weren't better? From the 916, Jerry and Whitey, the Western Conference was pretty darn tough this year. So hard for a team like the Spurs to improve by 15 to 25 games. Just saying.
Yeah, well, I agree with that. It's hard to, but it should have been a more than 2. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, 5 games at least, right?
If you're a truly great player, if you're going to want credit as an all-time great rookie and unanimous, well, like I go back to, like you say, the Wes Unseld, who wasn't a unanimous, but was the most valuable player. He improved the Washington Wizards by 15 games or so.
Yeah, the old they were the Bullets then, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Jerry, I have a feeling Antoine Carr and Wayman Tisdale got after it in practice, like a fist fight almost. Am I right? Folsom Mike.
I don't remember that, to be honest. I mean, Antoine Carr got into it with a lot of guys, but I don't. You couldn't get into it with Wayman. I mean,
yeah,
he's too nice a guy. But I remember. I think Antoine getting after several guys, and because he was a tough customer and very good player.
Was a good player.
Very good player.
Yeah, Jerry, putting on your gym glasses, who in the league would you be aggressively pursuing to get on the Kings? Well, we've talked about that, but basically Zach LaVine.
Well, I mean, as far as a big name guy,
You like all the Zachs. Turns out you like Zach Edey too, huh?
Well, I think at 13 you start considering it. A 7'4" guy that's been Player of the Year twice in college and on a winning team, and the reason they're winning on a team that really doesn't have a lot of size.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you'd have to consider it. And then, but yeah, we've talked before. It's like last year I said, I really liked Naz Reid, and of course he was going to be a free agent, and Minnesota wisely signed him.
Yeah, they didn't give him a chance to get out on the market much.
Well, they anyway, you could always looked into that, but anyway, they wisely did sign him.
You declaring shenanigans there?
I'm always in favor of shenanigans, if it helps you. but I like to get it. Indiana doesn't get to play much. Jalen Smith.
I love Jalen Smith.
Yeah, 6'10", 240.
Yes.
Shoots the 3, rebounds per minute.
They just don't play him. They don't like him because he wears glasses or something. I don't know.
Well, I think mostly it's because they got Pascal Siakam and Obi Toppin. They got 2 guys there that and certainly Pascal's better. And Toppin
I think Jalen Smith might be better than Obi Toppin.
I do too.
More of a big.
He's more of a big.
Yeah.
But anyway, but he has a player option, a $5 million contract.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not going to exercise that. So he's going to be out there. And I think he's a guy. He was 10th pick in the draft for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a guy to me that's got a chance to be the next Naz Reid.
Yeah. You got to anticipate like the Knicks did with Brunson, right? It's like, that's a really good player. He can be a lot better.
Yes.
Let's get him. That's what the Kings need to find that guy.
Yeah, you got to. I mean, that's really what it's about. I mean, I think that like Denver took risks on Porter.
Yes.
Knowing that he could play for a year, maybe, but he's the talent that
Kings were looking at him for number 1, right?
Yeah. Well, if he'd been healthy, he'd have been in that category, 1, 2, or 3. He wouldn't have slipped,
Yeah.
But
That's why, Jerry, I don't know about you, but I roll my eyes when people say, oh, you got to follow the Nuggets blueprint, because, all right, let's see. They got Michael Porter, who was a number 1 caliber player. They got him 14th because he had a bad back. So they gambled, they won. Great. That doesn't happen often. But the big thing is they got the best player in the world at pick 41 or whatever. You can't duplicate that. That's not a blueprint.
No, I was going to say, if the blueprint means that at 41 you can pick one of the top 10 players in the history of the game,
right?
And so that's pretty tough to duplicate. So that you got to change the blueprint. I was talking to my buddies on the Kings Herald podcast the other day, and we talking about just if you're not sure what to do at 13. Here's what I came up with, Whitey.
Yeah.
If you're not sure what to do at 13, draft a Kentucky guard.
Oh, okay.
You got late picks,
right?
Like Booker,
Jamal Murray,
and Tyrese Maxey.
Yes.
Gilgeous Alexander from there.
Yes.
Emmanuel Quickly, Fox,
Yeah.
Monk.
Uh-huh.
I mean, just go on down the line, and several of them were later picks. Booker.
Later books.
Booker.
Yeah.
So at 13, and they got 2 guys coming out, and they'll probably both be gone top 6 or 7.
Yeah.
But
anyway, you'd use either one of those guys.
Anyway, good.
Yeah.
And the next question you'd ask is, Cal, what were you doing?
I know. Yeah. From the 916 here. Victor needs to learn American-style basketball, only knows Euroball.
Well, I think that'll all come. I think it's a good point. I mean, it's certainly a different game, but I think a lot of that will fall to Coach Popovich, really trying to utilize him to his strengths better. I don't think he really concerned himself with that.
The only thing that stood out to me as a negative, as we discussed, was he takes bad shots. And a bad shot is the Warriors call them they call them shot turnovers. When you take bad shots, that's a shot turnover. And I don't care if you're playing Euro ball or American ball. He takes too many bad shots. From the 530, were the Kings better this year and they lost more games than last year in the better West? That's not a question. Were the Kings better this year and they just lost more games because the West was better? Were the Kings better this year?
I don't think they were better, but I don't think they were any worse. I think the West was significantly better. Because last year they won 48 games in the West, which was injuries just crushed a lot of the better teams. This year it didn't.
Mm-hmm. Last year, 2 years ago, whatever it is now, however you want to put it, like I said earlier, they knew what they were doing, and it was all offense. They knew how they were going to beat teams. This year, at times it seemed like they didn't know, what are we again? Who are we? How do we beat teams? Last year we used to beat teams into submission with our shooting, and now we can't make a shot. So that's why, to me, they weren't better this year.
Well, I think the other thing is team scout. Basically, I thought the Kings, I'd never seen the team get out in the open floor after made baskets, get down the floor and score. This year is harder for them. Teams really, transition defense, they scouted it and certainly made it tougher on the dribble handoff. So, scouting, is a factor.
Yeah. I was talking about LeBron, mentioned that Charles Barkley says he wants LeBron to retire soon. Charles Barkley was on Shannon Sharp's podcast. He says, I hope he retires soon because I hated the way I retired. Charles Barkley says he would tell himself last couple of years, okay, I'm going to get myself in great shape, going to have a good year, then I'm going to retire. And he says, then I figured out, like playing against air, everybody is good against air. Everybody is great against air. He went on to explain that he just, in the gym, everything's great, but he couldn't compete against younger players. So he realizes that that's not where LeBron is, but Charles Barkley doesn't want LeBron to come to that same conclusion in another year or two.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I obviously played at a tremendously high level. He's probably one of the 15 best players in the league, but for LeBron, 15 is a long way from number one, which he's been for it's about all of his career. And so I just hate to see great players hanging on too long. And I understand it's tough for players to walk away, but so many do hang on too long. You don't want to remember Michael Jordan as a worship wizard.
Right. But if a guy wants to play like, Vince Carter, hung on too long, but he didn't care. He just wanted to play.
He just wanted to play.
It doesn't diminish his legacy.
Yeah, no, you got to give him credit for what he did. But it's also true is he was happy to be a role player.
Yes.
I don't think LeBron would be happy being a ninth man anywhere. Do you?
We have Jerry Reynolds' big name wish list for the Kings when we come right back. Drive Guy, Sacktown Sports.
Did you miss any part of our live local shows? Don't worry, you never have to miss them again. Check out sacktownsports.com and search our podcast page and play our shows when you want. The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Plus, other podcasts like Return of the Empire, Return of the Roar, the Stingers Up podcast, and Golf to Go with Frank LaRosa.
They're all available right now on sacktownsports.com.
I didn't ask to be thrown in the streets with nowhere to go. I didn't think I'd survive. But I did ask for help, and Covenant House was there for me.
1 in 10 young adults will experience a form of homelessness this year. For these kids who didn't ask to be put in this unthinkable situation, Covenant House is there.
Covenant House helped me break the cycle of homelessness in my family. They gave me the love that I needed.
Over 2,000 young people will sleep safely in a Covenant House bed tonight. When youth who are experiencing homelessness have a hot meal, a safe place to sleep, medical care, and love, they can overcome heartbreaking challenges and have a brighter future.
They just really genuinely just wanted to help me succeed, and I'm succeeding. I'm a speaker, I'm an author. Covenant House really helped me and really helped mold me into the woman I am today.
If you or someone you love is asking for help, go to safeplacetosleep.org today.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jay Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPfest.com.
Brought to you by Kids Care Dental and Orthodontics, the Hot Tub Store, and Kettleman's.
In a world where everybody and their mother makes a primed trim board, contractors have to ask one question. Do I know what's under the primer? Available at just about every lumber yard you can imagine. Vintage trim boards are made from lodgepole pine. That's the stuff telephone poles and railroad ties are made of. It's durable. It's straight. It's been doing the job for generations. Manufactured right here in the USA. Ask for it by name. VintageTrimboards.com.
So here's a fact. 85% of the population will suffer from foot pain in their lifetime. That's almost everyone. So you'd think there'd be plenty of healthy long-term remedies, but there just aren't, right? Hi, I'm Dan from the Good Feet store. You know, people come in all the time sharing the same frustrating story. Bought this, tried that, been there, done whatever, all different kinds of things, but all with a similar result. Nothing. A discouraging and endless cycle of disappointment. If this rings a bell, don't despair. There is hope. If you think you've tried everything, you probably haven't tried Good Feet arch supports from the Good Feet store. They're designed to relieve, even eliminate, the pain commonly caused by certain foot conditions like plantar fasciitis, bunions, flat feet, and others. Plus, provide better balance and increased comfort.
Do you have sore feet, an aching back, or plantar fasciitis? Then get to the Good Feet store nearest you for your free arch support fitting. Good Feet arch supports are only available at the Good Feet store.
Remarkable change begins with daring to be different. Baby, I'm on a mission with Boost Mobile, putting the latest phones in the hands of more people. Introducing the Signature Coat Prime Razor, only from Boost Mobile. Rush to your nearest Boost Mobile retailer and get your Signature Coach Prime Razor on us. Get after it.
When you switch in with ID verification, select plans only. Offer valid 4/19/24 through 5/23/24. While supplies last. Taxes extra. New customers only. Must remain active and in good standing on the $60 a month plan for 6 months to receive all credits. Offer subject to change.
Free! Who doesn't love free? With Milo's Rewards, you get the member-only treatment that's actually worth it. Enjoy free member gifts you'll love. And once you reach Silver Key status, you can get free standard shipping. Because Lowe's knows nothing feels better than free. Learn more about our new loyalty program at Lowe's.com/MyLowe's Rewards today. Program subject to terms and conditions. See Lowe's.com/terms for details. Member gifts may be subject to additional terms and restrictions. See Lowe's.com/shipping terms for details. Subject to change.
All guests come to you from the Folsom Lake Honda Hotline. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your flagship station for the Beam Team.
Should we light the beam? Light the beam, baby.
Your afternoon home for Kings talk and so much more. The Drive Guys on Sacktown Sports.
I just wanted to mention here we have Simone today, and we have Jerry Reynolds, and Jay's back with us tomorrow. And I wanted to update you before we get back to the NBA on the Giants. I know if you're a Giants fan, this certainly is not funny, but there's something to me that just you have to give Bob Melvin a lot of credit. After the Giants lost yesterday, Bob Melvin said, it's a lot of things going on. We're not pitching well. We're not swinging the bats well. We're not swinging it well with runners in scoring position. Our defense hasn't been good lately either. That's what I mentioned that earlier. They lost again today, 6-1. Bob Melvin says, we were playing not very well, and now we're playing terribly. So it's things are
sometimes the truth is the truth, isn't it? You know?
Yeah.
You know,
tough sledding for the orange and black. While those pesky A's They've been playing well lately, Jerry.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, they're, I think it's that. Well, they do a lot. They didn't last year, but
Right.
it's amazing the amount of success they've had on the fields and not have it in the stands.
Right. It's early yet, long ways to go, but could the A's playing in Sacramento, could they get Jerry Reynolds back on that baseball wagon?
Might.
Whoa.
Might. I think it's a great thing for Sacramento. Obviously, it's a great baseball town here. And,
Are you a baseball fan, Simone? And it's okay if you're not.
Yes, I've been agnostic this year because of the whole situation.
Right.
With the A's,
Yes.
but
Yes.
Yes, normally
It's going to be
normal
tough, isn't it?
circumstances,
Like you
yes.
want to be respectful of what's going on. Then on the other hand, I mean, I'm with you. It's like, but they're right. They're going to be right down the street. What am I supposed to do?
And once in a lifetime. I mean, for us here in Sacramento, particularly. But yeah, I'm agnostic.
Yes, good for you.
She's got a little more class than I have about that. I would do it. I'm not near the big baseball fan I used to be. Just because,
You were a player. I know you played.
I played
high level in high school.
Pretty high level for Indiana, which is be a low level here in California, very low level.
But if you had 439 or whatever you had, that's 439.
444, buddy.
444. Little pepper pot of a second baseman.
I played shortstop.
Okay. There you go.
Don't get me wrong. I shouldn't have. I didn't have the arm for it. But if I'd been in California, I'd been a second baseman.
But like to Simone's point, we're very sensitive to all that here since we almost lost the Kings at least twice. And now Oakland is losing their team. And, those are our brethren. And some of those fans are Kings fans too. And we're kind of, at least Sacramento's, is part of that process. So it makes me, I'll speak for myself, feel like, well, wait a minute, that doesn't seem right. How can I get excited about that?
Yeah, no, it is. It's sad, but I don't know. Some things you can't control. I would say this. I still think this would could support a major league team, this town. And, obviously the arena or the field isn't big enough and all that. I understand that, but I think Sacramento would support it well. And you certainly would have the East Bay people who are primarily the A's fans anyway.
Yeah.
It'd almost be just as easy to get up here and back than it is to
try
to drive in all the traffic and all that crap.
Yeah. I mean, been going to A's games from Sacramento for a long time.
Yeah, no,
just the Coliseum, one of the best things about that, and I know it's antiquated, you can get in there and out so easily.
Yeah, that is you hit the positive.
Yeah. That and some wonderful memories.
Yeah.
Other than that, yeah. I kind of miss games in the basketball arena too. And I know the Chase Center is wonderful, but that place had a real
especially after they refurbished it and the teams were good.
Uh-huh.
No, I like that. I mean, it's a little bit like Old Arco. I mean, the atmosphere, it's hard to duplicate.
Yes.
I mean, it really is. They're not great for getting concessions or whatever, but once your butt's plunked in its seat, you're close to the action and the arenas are loud and hey, it's about basketball.
Yeah. I will say this to that point. I know I wondered if Golden One could ever get as loud as Arco 2. And after game 1 between the Warriors and the Kings last year, I don't wonder that anymore.
No, it's amazing. I mean, the fans here they really are the best, I mean, go through what they went through, but I've always said the thing I like most about the Kings fans is they're NBA fans. They know the league. I mean, you go to New York and most places, they don't. I mean, they're corporate seats, and I mean, they have their loyal fans now, but a lot of them are just there to drink beer and cheer and
be seen
and they know who the Knicks are. They don't know anybody else.
Well, let's be honest. There were years, weren't there for a long time where if you went to a Kings game, you were kind of going to see the other team.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly right. And I think in some ways that made the Kings fans better and more knowledgeable fans. They went, oh yeah, I know who's on the Knicks and who's on the Celtics and the Bulls and all that. And these are our guys. They're not very good, but they're our guys.
I always wondered, there was that game in 1986, and it was famous because I remember the same night the Warriors were terrible and they beat the Lakers in Oakland. That same night up here, because I was at that game, that same night up here, the Kings beat the Celtics, and Larry Bird missed a couple free throws.
He missed 2 free throws.
Yes.
Yes,
And then he
did.
said after the game, he said, these are, I think he said, the best fans in the NBA.
He said,
and I wondered if he said that because of you. Because he knew it would help you.
Well, he didn't say it because of me, but I mean, I think he felt that. I mean, because he said it reminded him of how the enthusiasm of Indiana high school basketball in the arenas and stuff, and it really did. I mean, you'd have to grow up in Indiana to know that.
Yes.
At that time, it's not even that way anymore, but the high schools with 7,000-8,000 seat arenas and just a carnival atmosphere, and it was like that. And like I say, it was really a great event for me because he missed the 2 free throws, and he had to buy me beer all night. So
nice.
that was the last time he had to.
Simone, one time Larry Bird went to Jerry's house, the Roseville house, I assume.
Yeah.
And
we actually both of them at one time or another.
Okay. And he's visiting because they had a game that night, and then known each other forever.
Mm-hmm.
And then after the game or the next day, they realized that Larry went into his son's room and autographed all his posters.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, my son.
Pretty iconic.
My son Jay had a whole bunch of Larry Bird posters in his bedroom, and kind of that area there, the bathroom was closest to the family room. So Larry, we'd drinking beer, maybe too much. I'm not gonna. You can't drink too much. But anyway, so taking a leak, and of course I didn't know. And I guess he walked in there and saw the things, and he signed them all. And so we've kept them. We've kept them. So
that's awesome.
But I mean, he never said anything about it. So
that's a very warm, cozy story from a lot of the more prickly ones I hear about the great Larry Bird.
Yeah. Oh,
that's
yeah.
awesome.
He and Jerry way back. What did we say one time? He's mowing his lawn and he asked you to help him or something, or maybe you were.
Well, it's a deal. Of course, every time when my mom was still alive, I was still going to French Lick, and I'd went over to visit with Larry, and I think I had to help him paint a fence or something because,
And he was Larry Bird at this point, right? Yeah.
Well, he worked. I'll say that. That's how he hurt his back. Was shoveling gravel for his grandma's driveway or something.
Wow.
But anyway, and so I was getting ready to go home, and I just said, I'm going to have to go home, and I want to mow my mom's yard, if I can, and then head on down the road to help her out. And he said, well, let me help you out. He said, I'll go up there. So, get a mower in the truck, we'll get her done. And so, that was, that was.
And then wasn't your mom asked, wasn't that Rose Bird's boy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing. Yeah. Because he'd always say, now which one of Rose Bird's boys was that? And I said, well, it's Larry. I said, oh, yeah, he's a real good basketball player in high school, wasn't he? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, yeah, he's still playing, Mom. I said, was he as good as you? I said, oh, good Lord, Mom, you know better than that. She said, I didn't think so.
339-1140.
Mother's love, buddy.
Yes.
Yeah,
1-800-920-1140. JR with us on Sack Down Sports. Hello, JR. What's up?
What's up? First of all, love Jay, but Simone answering the phone is so nice.
Yeah, sure.
Such a high.
Yeah.
And your stories, JR, are the best when it comes to Larry Bird. I'll tell you. So what you should say is he snuck into your kid's room, creeped around, and was he just signing things? Like he was signing random football things and basketball and soccer and then whatever he wanted to sign. And hey, that's Larry Bird.
Yeah. Well,
you're all good with it.
Well, I could have said that, but I've been a lie. But my son Jay did have like 5 posters up, all different, years and styles and stuff, and so he just saw it there, and they always have the fake the signature. I mean, it's not fake, it's copied, but he just wrote over the top of it. And so, like I say, we didn't. My son was really excited. He said, "Oh, Dad, you ain't gonna believe this." Yeah. So anyway,
yeah. What else can we do for you, JR? Oh, okay. Thank you for checking in. Yeah, we'll get to Jerry's wish list. We already mentioned some interesting names on there. There's one guy that Jerry's interested in that surprises me. We will get to that. Also, we'll look at how the Minnesota Timberwolves may have been built for the express purpose of beating the Denver Nuggets. As we roll on here, we're coming right back with that. Drive Guys on Sacktown Sports.
Our first year as the radio home of the San Francisco 49ers is one we will never forget.
Going deep down the sideline for Are You? He's got it, and he's gone. 10, 5, touchdown! San Francisco! Ayuk is on fire!
Congratulations to the 49ers on a terrific year. And thank you for so many wonderful memories.
If you need bold banners to boost your business, but you're on a budget, think Staples. Posters, flyers, signs, and menus for less? Think Staples. Staples can print anything you need to move your business forward. Now at Staples, save $50 on your print purchase of $150 or more. Same-day service available on hundreds of items if you order by noon. And all backed by Staples' Print Perfect guarantee. So it's done right or it's printed again free. Staples, your local print and marketing expert. N61, visit staples.com/print for details.
Progressive knows finding your new home was a dream come true. You wanted a walk-up with central air and a skylight, and you found it. Now, every Friday night, you get to fall asleep to the sound of your downstairs neighbors' dance parties. Progressive can't save you from your noisy neighbors, but we can save you money when you bundle your home and auto with us. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers not available in all states.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sacktown Sports.
All these kids on the chat here, we have Compio, all caps. Wait, Bird missed 2 free throws in a row? Yeah, that actually happened. That was the biggest, most surprising thing of that whole story, huh?
Yeah, it was. And, and I always remember he, of course, was saying, Portland's going to pay for this. He was ticked. I think he got 47 the next night against them.
One of those, maybe it wasn't that year, but one of those years on that Portland trip, that, of course, is when he told everybody, because they were going to play the Lakers next. He's like, hey, I'm playing left-handed tonight.
Yeah.
He scored 37 or something.
Yeah, I think, he's, 30, at least 30. I think he did say the game got kind of close and he had to go ahead and make a couple right-handed.
Oh, but if you watch the video of that, it's
well,
incredible.
he's kind of ambidextrous. I mean, in truth, because he writes left-handed and eats left-handed, same way I do, and it does everything else right-handed. But then I always say, I don't know if it's just two guys screwed up in the same area, but mentally. But I play ping pong left-handed and tennis right-handed.
Really?
Yeah. How do you explain that? I don't know.
That is strange.
It is strange.
Yeah.
Very strange. Yeah.
Little unusual.
I
was surprised to see him in that commercial with the bird in his attic.
Yeah.
I didn't. I mean, I would think he gets tons of offers for that stuff that he just doesn't want to do.
Well, I think I think he enjoys that more now than ever. Because he does the State Farm, I think. With Charles and those guys on. Yeah, I think he's doing several of them, and I know he likes to make money.
Yeah,
that because he didn't like to spend it, but he likes to make it.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, it's a good plan.
Vincent joins us on Sacktown Sports. Hey, Vincent, what can we do for you?
Oh, I'd like to tell you a story about the day the Celtics lost in Sacramento.
Yeah, what about it?
Well, we were fan crazy when the Kings came to town, and so I bought a rubber chicken, and I dyed a T-shirt green and put the Larry Bird on it, and I had a rope about 50 feet long, and we were 7 rows from the floor in the corner, and Larry Bird, when he was warming up, stopped and took a double take at my chicken, and everybody around us was hitting it and stomping on it. Kids were coming up and throwing it all around, and we shook them up before the game started.
So that's why you're saying that's why he missed the 2 free throws? Yeah, maybe that's.
Yeah, could have done it, I mean, it would have shaken me up if somebody's stomping on a chicken with my jersey.
Yeah, well, we don't have anybody like Larry Bird who's available for the Kings here. But I know we talked about Zach LaVine and how all things considered it makes sense to you. I was a little surprised that you would be in on Kelly Oubre if he's a.
Yeah, I like, I think he really kind of redid his career. He's bounced around, and he's not the star people thought he might be coming out of college, a high lottery pick, but he's lively, athletic, can guard people.
The Sixers have, let's see, hitting free agency: Tobias Harris, Buddy Hield, Kyle Lowry, Kelly Oubre, and DeAnthony Melton. Anybody else do anything?
Just Oubre would be the only one.
What happened to Buddy Buckets? What a great shooter.
Okay, we've done Buddy Buckets.
I know. But how come he didn't become?
Well, he's
supposed to be the next Curry. Some said when the Kings.
Yeah,
traded
well,
for him.
that didn't work out. I
No.
mean, Buddy's a good player, but I don't think he's what the Kings need. I really don't. I mean, I think somebody like Oubre, because his defense is much thing, but it can score differently.
Yeah.
I know, Buddy. I would, I guess, just me personally, I would, if you're choosing Buddy and had a chance to get Bogdanovich, even though he's older, I'd do that for 1 year. If you're talking about a spot player, because Bogey's a better player.
Did you see when was that? Was it Friday? Buddy had that big night.
Oh, he was terrific.
But then he got the ball at the end of the game with it was 3.7 left, but he acted like there was 0.3 left.
Yeah.
Instead of catching and put it on the floor, he just kind of flung it in the general direction of the basket.
That's our Buddy.
He had time to put it on the deck and maybe get a decent shot.
Yeah, I was surprised they didn't, they didn't play him right away in the second half. The guy was just on a burner. You think, hey, ride that horse. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, no matter what you think of him or what he said, great shooter.
Well, a great shooter and is there every night. His health, plays hard, does what he does. I mean, I think I always said with Buddy, you don't want him handling the ball much. You want to get him shots.
Mm-hmm.
If you got a shot, take it. If you don't, move it. You don't need to pound it. Just shoot it or move it.
Yeah. Here's the thing about Oubre. I'd be surprised if the Kings had interest, and I could be totally wrong on this, but I know when Oubre was with the Warriors in 21, it didn't go especially well, and he struggled getting acclimated into the offense, and Mike Brown was there. Now, I don't know, Mike Brown wasn't the head coach, so maybe Mike Brown thought, no, he was really good. But the Warriors were not pleased with Kelly Oubre. He wasn't pleased with them. So
no, that's a good. I forgot that. I forgot that he was with the Warriors. But I kind of look at him a little bit like DiVincenzo wasn't very good for the Kings or the Warriors, but he's awfully good with the Knicks. And so sometimes guys just need to be in the right situation. But I think your point is really good because if Mike Brown would.
I'm making some assumptions there.
But he'd have a good insight to whether this would work.
Mm-hmm. And DiVincenzo, he was hurt, right? He got badly injured when he was with Milwaukee. And it took him a long time really to recover from that.
He never really, I don't think ever got going in Sacramento for various reasons. I don't know. But he, the same with the Warriors. I thought they'd give him a little better chance, but it wasn't quite.
By the end of his run there, it was clear that he was going to get more money elsewhere. He helped them, but now he's fearless.
Well, and I think, just playing, he with his buddies Brunson and Hart, the Villanova, the Nova Knicks, and of course Thibodeau, a hard-nosed guy, and Dante is definitely a little hard-nosed guy. So I'll tell you another guy I really like is going to be a free agent is Derek Jones at Dallas.
Yes.
He's not scorer, but, I know a lot of people like Matisse Thybulle, because he's a good defender. But I think Derek Jones is better in every way myself.
And he would address your relative lack of athleticism.
Yes, he's long, can guard the long wings, that type thing, which he's doing for Dallas. I mean, having said all that, I'm pretty sure Dallas knows the same things that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That you'd think Mark Cuban would have learned his lesson by now. that he might want to keep that guy.
You don't want to get Brunsoned again, do you?
Yeah, no. Brunsoned or Nashed.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, Nash. Yeah. It doesn't seem like that long ago, Jared, that we were getting ready. It was like 5 weeks ago, Friday, if I'm not mistaken. We were getting ready for the Kings and the Mavericks. Those 2 games at Golden One. And I don't know about you, but me and Kyle are feeling pretty optimistic. And man, look how the fortunes of those 2 teams have changed since then.
Yeah, I was too, and it's one of those things where the Kings, when they played them earlier, were the better team. But then the Mavericks, basically went out and got 2 starters, getting Gafford and Jones and those guys. And it just changed them defensively for sure, and of course, Irving and Doncic, they really are good together.
Yeah.
But that was kind of the last nail, really. And then, of course, Monk got hurt.
Yeah. Well, tonight we got game 2, the Timberwolves and the Nuggets. And we don't know about Rudy Gobert's status because of they gave birth to a child, his wife did, which is wonderful. But there are some that are saying the Timberwolves look like they were built to beat Jokic. Tom Connolly is the guy that built the Denver roster. Then he left and went to Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he's been downplaying the storyline, but they went out, they gave up the farm to get Rudy Gobert. And some people think that Connolly was putting together a team with Naz Reid, Karl Anthony Towns that was designed to beat Jokic. He knew what it would take to beat Jokic because he put that team together too.
Yeah, I've seen that. What's interesting to me is because when he did that, basically Denver wasn't Denver yet. It's
right.
like you'd have to say, I know Denver's going to win the championship in a year.
You're right, because they were, I think, the worst, knocked them out in the first round.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's, now, are they built to beat Denver? That may very well be true, but I'd have to say Mr. Conley's very experienced basketball man, like many in the league. And he's probably saying, I got to build a team that's good enough to get out of the first round.
That's a good point. Because it says here, and I think I read this, the 47-year-old has a habit of downplaying this storyline in media circles. Maybe he downplays it because
it had no logic to it or truth.
But it sounds like that's a guy that knows how to put teams together.
Well, he's 2 for 2.
Yeah.
He's 2 for 2, so you got to give him that, And I mean, I always say there's certain guys. I mean, I think Sam Presti in Oklahoma City has done it several times. Sadly, because he'd get them and and then they leave. Then he'd basically they're very short on money kind of situation, but they draft well, they trade well.
Yeah,
the old like I say this team is built off of the trade for the Paul George trade. That they got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and a draft pick became Jalen Williams.
Yeah.
These are their 2 best players.
And I'm sure you know this because you're very close with the guy who's doing all this, but another team that's scary with the number of draft picks they've acquired is Danny Ainge and the Jazz.
Yeah, he's going to have that there again. That's another team.
Yes.
Be very free. He's got a kind of a franchise guy to build around Larry Marketing, who Chicago and Cleveland gave up too soon. A little bit like sometimes fans here will talk about Keegan. Well, Keegan's better than Laurie was first 3 or 4 years, but Laurie's is a star, 6'11" star, young star, and so Danny's got that and a lot of picks, got a few players. He may not be ready next year, but about.
He says we're going big game hunting. So, yeah.
And they got cap room. Picks.
When did you realize how smart Danny Ainge was? I know he told you some things that.
Probably about the first practice we had when he was traded to the Kings, and we talked about stuff. And I was thinking, oh, Danny spotted these things quicker than I did, And but he liked to talk basketball, but he knew it. I mean, he knew the college game. He knew top play. He's one of those. It's surprising how few pro players really follow the game and not just stars in the league, but the teams and the games and the standings. And
didn't he identify the Kings' biggest problem? Didn't he tell you what the biggest problem was?
He did. He told me once we were just visiting. He said, Coach, he said, I think I figured out our problem. And I said, well, I think I know, but please, I'm willing to listen here. And he said, I'm your best player. I said, sure, by far. Yeah. He said, well, I should be about the 5th best. He said, I was the 5th best in Boston. I said, well, you're the best here. So I think we've identified it. We just can't solve it.
This is probably giving him way too much credit, but it's incredible because he's the guy that established the price tag for stars now, which is like 4 picks, number ones, right?
Right.
He did that with Gobert and with Donovan Mitchell. And now a couple years later, he's one of the few guys who can afford that price if he wanted to get a star because he has all the draft picks.
He has them all.
That's brilliant.
He and Presti, they have them all. Those 2 guys, and they're always I think Danny has always been like Sam Presti's been about 1 jump ahead. He's playing chess, and a lot of guys are playing checkers.
Yeah. Who are the NBA's most disappointing teams? That's next. Drive Guys Sack Down.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back, He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Across Sacramento, air conditioners are firing up, and with them, power bills are going through the roof. Are you ready for your utility bill to soar even higher next month? Since 1980, Aztec Solar has helped thousands of homeowners save money because going solar is like getting an extra paycheck every month. We call it the Aztec Paycheck. How big of a paycheck? Find out at yourpowersavings.com. Visit yourpowersavings.com and Aztec Solar will text you how much money you'll save every month. Find out how much you'll save now at yourpowersavings.com. It's fast, easy, and reliable. Stop paying the power company and start paying yourself. Looking for a deal? Here's a timely offer from Aztec Solar. You can own a solar electric system for just $99.95. Cash price after incentives. Don't waste another dollar. Visit yourpowersavings.com and keep your money where it belongs, in your pocket. Aztec Solar. Solar and only solar since 1980.
Whitey here reminding you that not all gas grills are created equal. Bring out all the delicious flavors in your grilled meats with the amazing Napoleon Prestige and Prestige Pro line of outdoor cookers. My Napoleon Stainless Steel Pro Series gas grill has turned me into a grilling pro with features other grills cannot match. They're built different, built better, built to last. Made with premium stainless steel that boasts quality and a lifetime warranty. I may never want to cook indoors again. Napoleon grills and accessories are now available at your nearby Amy's, Ace Hardware in Sacramento, and now El Dorado.
Saving for retirement was tough enough for us.
Yes, and navigating markets can be challenging at times.
I understand. That's why at Fisher Investments, we take a disciplined approach with your investments.
Tell us more about that.
We take an active approach to money management, positioning your portfolio for opportunities we see ahead.
So all your clients get the same portfolio?
No, we tailor your portfolio to your individual goals and needs.
What about communication? We don't like being left in the dark.
We check in regularly to keep you informed on the markets and your portfolio.
Which means you'll help us stay on track.
Yes, our goal is your comfortable retirement. And as a fiduciary, we always put your interests first, because we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Kevin Lewis with National Garage Door, reminding you that in Sacramento, National Garage Door is the king of garage doors. We service, sell, and install garage doors and openers. Call us today for your basketball special. A new 16x7 Rainer garage door with insulation and a belt drive opener for only $24.49 installed. Give us a call today, 916-638-4554.
638-4554 National Garage Door.
Guys, are you still dealing with loss of energy, poor sleep, weight gain, and even ED? Revive Men's Health Sacramento offers guaranteed low T and ED treatments. And this month only, qualified patients get a free 1-month supply of personalized ED medication, plus a free ED treatment producing immediate results. Availability is limited. Book your free exam and consultation today. Call 916-365-4566. That's 916-365-4566. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Live and local. Live and local.
This is Sacktown Sports.
Jerry Reynolds, Simone, and I, and we're just having a conversation here about A's, Sacramento, Vegas. Here's something that's interesting going on with the whole Vegas thing in the A's, which, of course, could impact all of us here in Sacramento. There's a group called Schools Before Stadiums, pardon me, and they petitioned the state Supreme Court. They said, we want this stadium plan in Vegas to go to a public vote. So this is our petition. We want this to go on the ballot. And the first judge that heard it back in November looked at it and said, I am probably more likely to choose schools over stadiums, but this petition we have requirements for a petition. This doesn't meet it. I'm sorry. So you have to rewrite it. So that was November. Now, the deadline for them getting signatures is June 26th because they're going to have the election when they're going to have it. So the people in charge of the petition, instead of rewriting it, they appealed. So the state Supreme Court has heard the appeal, and there's no decision yet. Well, the clock is ticking. So they're having arguments on whether as written, this petition is legal or not, whether it meets the criteria. In the meantime, they only have till June 26th. That's when they got to get the signature. So I don't know why they didn't write a new petition. They must be very confident that once they get word, if this thing is signed off on by the state Supreme Court, that they can get 102,000 signatures like that. But this was something that looked like, if that goes on looks like if it goes on the ballot, the stadium will be defeated. It'll have to be approved publicly, but they have to get it on the ballot, and they still haven't done that yet. So
yeah, that does seem like that they're kind of missing. The judge told them what to do.
Yes, this is the problem. We're going to appeal. Supreme Court says, the rule. This doesn't follow the rules. Well, we're going to appeal it. So they could be just wasting valuable time.
Well, certainly haven't they?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And the Sacramento is just waiting. I guess maybe, a lot of people think Vivek looks at this and says, this Vegas thing, there's a real good chance that's not going to happen. So if it doesn't happen, well, they're already here. So maybe we keep them.
Well, I think that's a good way to look at it. I would have to think there's a chance. I'd never.
We need a stadium, Jerry.
Can
you help us out with that?
God, I wish I could.
Reynolds Field?
Well, there's just not enough room in the cul-de-sac.
That's true, because of all the turkeys.
Yeah, Roseville. Yeah, the turkeys have taken over Roseville, so you can't really. That might be something that ought to be on the ballot. Have humans over turkeys.
Yeah, it would be nice to have some clearer idea. I understand we just can't, but even in Vegas, are they going to go ahead and build a stadium in Vegas? Nobody knows, and then they're going to be here for how long? Nobody knows. And then if that falls through, would they go back to Oakland? Nobody knows. So it's hard to get too excited because I just feel like I don't know what's going on. Nobody does.
Yeah. And there's obviously some cities that would want to get in the mix.
Portland, Oregon, for example. Yeah. Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see. But I guess, it's as Simone was saying, as a Kings fan who went through a near relocation, it's hard not to have a lot of sympathy for Oakland fans. It's hard to feel good about all this, but this might be Sacramento's only chance at getting a team.
Well, one way to look at it is if Sacramento got the team, at least Oakland fans would have an ability to see the Oakland team.
Mm-hmm.
Which if it goes to Vegas, that's out of or Nashville.
It's a lot tougher. Yeah.
Yeah, very difficult drive to Nashville this time of year.
I guess I'll take your word for it. But I do think, there's going to be a lot of protests this year up here. And I'm wondering if John Fisher, did he just decide, it'll be fine? All the cell protests. There's going to be, to the point you just made, it's not that far from Oakland. So a lot of those fans, and they already were here once, and bless them, they're going to be up here a lot.
Yeah, that's a good point. Never thought about that.
Yeah. So it's a conundrum here. You okay? You need a second? Yeah. Jerry Reynolds is with us today. Yeah. That's all right.
Now I'm back. Yeah.
No problem.
I thought I was a goner there for a second,
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a marathon today.
It is a marathon, but you're a warrior, and I'm semi-warrior. I'm a senior warrior.
Yeah. You okay? You all right?
Yeah, I think I'll make it. There's a chance. I can't leave Mrs. Reynolds yet.
No. A lot of Kings fans, as we know, were disappointed by this season. I think we all were. But when you look at some other teams in the NBA, I don't think the Kings were – I don't even know if they were one of the top 5 most disappointing teams. Big picture. Sure, they were disappointing to us, but things are still looking rather promising. To me, the Milwaukee Bucks were the most disappointing team.
I would completely agree with that. I just wonder if they've decided maybe Budenholzer is a pretty good coach. What do you think?
Yeah.
They deserve whatever happens to them, as far as I'm concerned. It's like, wait a minute. This guy won you a championship. You had the best record in the league last year when Adetokounmpo got hurt and didn't play in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And you fire your coach.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how'd that work out?
Right. It hasn't worked out. And they got Dame, and as you pointed out, if they'd have known that getting Dame would end up would lead to Drew Holiday going to Boston, maybe they wouldn't have done it at all.
Well, they shouldn't have done it anyway. Dame's much better scorer, but they were a better team, and I still think they would be a better team if they had Drew Holiday, there. But they didn't, so that's on them.
Philadelphia, disappointing. I know the injuries had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, Yeah, I think with injuries, it's hard to say. I mean, I look at probably teams like Atlanta, I thought would be much better, and they just really weren't anywhere near. And of course, you're the terrible teams, but you knew they were going to be bad. So
Yeah.
So that's near here nor there.
I think the Warriors were very disappointing this year.
Yeah,
they were talking like with Chris Paul, all right, we're ready to make another run, and they couldn't even get out of the play-in.
Yeah, and when you're 10th, I mean, it's the Warriors.
Yes.
I mean, they've been a dynasty. It sticks in my throat a little bit, but it's true.
Some will tell you that's still a dynasty, and I was like, no, it's not. It can't be.
You're paying for a dynasty. You don't have one.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you're paying like you got one, but you just don't have one. And no, it was tough. I think that expectations certainly. I think the Clippers.
Yes, I was going to say.
I mean, but then again, what did we expect? It's like, well, looked like they were going to put it all together, and then they became the Clippers again. All their main players you couldn't count on.
How about this team, which is the same upside down? The Suns.
The Suns. Well, I'm not surprised. I just didn't think that was going to work. I mean,
I'm with you.
You made Booker play a position he's not really. He's a shooting guard. He's a great one.
Yeah.
And he can play point and score, but that's not you're maybe hurting two positions. And then Bradley Beal just isn't that good. He's being paid $50 million, and the truth is Grayson Allen is probably a better player for that team right now anyway.
Yeah, and I'm a big KD guy, but he's just not the same.
He's not the same KD.
No,
he's one of
and he was maybe all league worthy this year, but he's still not the same.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, as opposed to one of the top 5 players in the world, well, you probably can't make that case that he's a top 15, maybe 10 or 15. And so, there's slippage.
That didn't impress you at all that the Suns is the same upside down?
I did not know that.
Yeah, how about that?
Well, I couldn't. Yeah, it's pretty sloppy both ways.
It impressed me.
It was not legible, so you didn't know what I was writing.
Yeah, no.
So, all right. So, and I'm with you on Milwaukee, the Clippers. You don't want to put Philly on there, so I'll leave them off. The Warriors, we agree on?
Yep.
Yeah. So would the Kings be? Maybe the Kings are one of the top 5 most disappointing.
No, I mean, you could still add Toronto in that if you wanted to.
It's like, I know this goes back to injuries, but of course, Memphis situation and the Grizzlies after their exciting run last year.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I don't think anybody expected them to be. Well, I guess once all the injuries, you knew they couldn't win. They probably won more than I thought they would with no players.
Yeah, but going into the season, they probably thought, look, Jaw's out. He'll come back. We'll be a playoff team at least.
Yes.
And instead, they were terrible.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, went from, a 57-win team a couple of years ago to the bottom.
All right. Sacramento was pretty disappointing, though.
Yeah, wasn't what we hoped for.
Right.
We wanted more. We wanted, like I say, I just thought at the start of the season, I'm a Kings fan, but the way I evaluated was that with the West, when you look at the rosters, it's pretty hard to see them being any more than I thought. Probably 6 spot was as high as I even hoped for.
Yeah, I had before the season started, I said the Kings would be 5, and I had OKC 4. So I was off on the Kings, but pretty close on OKC.
Yeah,
although they were
number one,
1 seed.
1 seed. I never saw that coming. I thought, there's a team you knew was going to be better than Minnesota, but I just didn't see either one of them being that good.
All right. Sorry about that, Milwaukee Bucks. You are the most disappointing team of the season. Reynolds remembers this date in NBA history when we come back and wrap it up. Drive Guys, Sacktown Sports.
You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan, going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sacktown Sports and the Sacktown Sports app.
Whitey here reminding you that not all gas grills are created equal. Bring out all the delicious flavors in your grilled meats with the amazing Napoleon Prestige and Prestige Pro line of outdoor cookers. My Napoleon Stainless Steel Pro Series gas grill has turned me Jerry, into a grilling pro with features other grills cannot match. They're built different, built better, built to last, made with premium stainless steel that boasts quality and a lifetime warranty. I may never want to cook indoors again. Napoleon Grills and Accessories, now available at your nearby Amy's, Ace Hardware in Sacramento, and now El Dorado.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by the Arnold Law Firm.
I'm Mark Finan in the KCRA3 Weather Center. Skies will stay clear through the night tonight. Lows will drop down to the upper 40s. Tomorrow will be sunny and warmer than today, with highs in the mid-70s. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA News and the KCRA3 app.
The Arnold Law Firm has seen how a collision can turn anyone's life upside down in a heartbeat. So remember to be a little more alert on the road and stay safe. The Arnold Law Firm, providing real justice for you since 1975. Call 916-777-7777.
Hey there, wanted to take a moment of your time so I could talk to you about insecurity. I could talk to you about confidence. I could talk to you about girth. Yeah, what? Girth? Yeah, okay. Let me tell you about the Upsize Clinic at UpsizeMatters.com. My good friend, Dr. Jack, and his friend, Dr. Pash in San Francisco, have a safe, effective, long-lasting doctor-performed procedure. It's non-surgical, virtually pain-free. Now listen, girth is consistently ranked as the most important attribute. What Dr. Jack and Dr. Pash are offering is a free consultation. The procedure can be done on the same day as your consultation and get that confidence back. Reset in the bedroom with your partner. Financing is available. It's very private. It's very discreet. Available in Roseville with Dr. Jack and San Francisco with Dr. Pash at UpsizeMatters.com. That's UpsizeMatters.com.
Welcome to the May Springtime Sales Event at Kia of Vacaville. Are you ready for an exceptional automotive journey? We're excited to present to you the pinnacle of automotive excellence, the Kia Telluride. As May unfolds, come explore the remarkable features of the Kia Telluride. Beyond being just a vehicle, it embodies a lifestyle. With a seamless blend of sophistication and practicality, the Telluride is ready to elevate your driving experience to extraordinary heights. Whether you're embarking on a family getaway or navigating busy city streets, the Kia Telluride offers unparalleled comfort and innovation. Moreover, with Kia's unwavering commitment to safety and reliability, you can drive with absolute confidence wherever your adventures take you. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Experience the exceptional Kia Telluride firsthand. Visit us today at Kia of Vacaville and take advantage of exclusive offers during the May Springtime Sales Event. Your adventure awaits. Kia of Vacaville, where innovation meets excellence. Model availability, lease options, and features may vary. Please visit Kia of Vacaville for more details.
Country in the Park is back May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo with Brantley Gilbert, Dustin Lynch, Jay Cohen, Walker Hayes, and more. Tickets start at just $46. Country in the Park, May 17th and 18th at Cal Expo. For more information, visit CITPFest.com.
Brought to you by Kids Care Dental and Orthodontics, the Hot Tub Store, and Cattleman's.
Seems like all this artificial intelligence stuff stirs up the age-old debate of man versus machine. Hi, it's Dan from the Good Feet store, and let me ask you, would you let a robot cut your hair? Would you rely on an app to teach a kid to ride a two-wheeler? Let's face it, some things require the human touch. People come to us seeking a solution to foot, leg, and back pain after trying all kinds of things recommended by in-store machines or website blurbs. An impersonal, generic approach to solving a problem that's unique to you. No wonder they usually don't work. At the Good Feet store, you'll meet with an arch support specialist who will take the time to learn about your needs, your feet, your lifestyle, and then fit you from over 300 models and sizes of arch supports designed for pain relief, better balance, and more comfort.
Do you have sore feet, an aching back, or plantar fasciitis? Then get to the Good Feet store nearest you for your free arch support fitting. Good Feet arch supports are only available at the Good Feet store.
Sacktown Sports. Call or text at 916-339-1140.
Getting ready to wrap things up here. A few questions left for Jerry Reynolds, though. Jerry, Sheen and I were watching Shogun, which just ended. So now we're looking for something to watch. And I know it's not here yet, but the Game of Thrones, another season of the House of the Dragon, it's going to be on soon. I know you watched the first Game of Thrones. Have you watched the House of the Dragon?
I have not, and I probably won't because I'm so mad the way Game of Thrones ended. I may punish him and not watch. And I know my son Jay and I were talking about it, and he feels sort of the same way. So I don't know if we'll, get into it. I know he's into Shogun. Says it's great.
Yes,
but,
tremendous.
But
I believe Simone watched Shogun.
Yes,
too.
yes, I watch both. I'm guilty.
I'm almost afraid to get involved with it because like I say, the Game of Thrones, I got so much into it, and then the way they ended it, I said, well, you could have had the dragon destroy everybody to start the thing.
Well, you look at it as a coach, right? You look at everything as a coach. You're thinking, if I have the dragon, I win, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, you had him all along. You had two of them. You didn't need armies. Just go burn the crap out of them.
They were shameless in the way that they ended those final seasons. I mean, were just so inconsiderate.
And the White Walkers, I mean, this little girl destroys the White Walkers. Well, you should have got her involved a little earlier.
The long night was one night, exactly.
So Simone, you can see I'm still a little upset about
Yes, and I wish I had as much discipline and strength as you to avoid the House of the Dragon, but that's where you are.
I wondered about that from early on in that show. Once I started watching it, the original Game of Thrones, like, okay, you got these White Walker guys and they're like snow guys and they don't like heat, right? Well, you got dragons. So I think I know what's going to happen here, but that's not really how they got rid of them.
No. And you had that other group that lived basically in the same areas of White Walkers for years.
Yeah. The Wildings.
The Wildings until they couldn't.
Yeah.
For some reason. Okay. I got you.
Then they had to, at some point, the people writing the script, they realized, wow, this is kind of one-sided. We have to give the bad guys a dragon. So remember, then they killed
yeah.
And they dragged the ice dragon out.
Of course, with all the chains that they just had ready disposal.
Yeah, somebody went down there and tied the chains on the dragon underwater and dragged him out of there. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that ending though. I mean, I know they were just the writers that took over were just trying to get it over with, and it's like, well, yeah, but we didn't want it to end. We wanted to actually have a story. It was a great story. Why not?
Right.
Well, I'm mad at them. So
I'm sorry to dredge up those memories for you. Like
Well, you did.
So you're out on House of the Dragon.
Yeah, I'm out. I'm out until further notice.
My daughter, Professor Gleason, said I think she likes it. So I mean,
oh, does she? Well, I'll wait till to get some feedback from other people.
Okay. All right. So we're still looking for the next thing to watch. I want to see what Jerry remembered about these dates. It's time for a little Reynolds Remembers, which is a great book Jerry wrote, although now it's not called that.
Well, it's the same book. They republished it and called it Tales from the Sacramento Kings.
Yes.
Exactly same book. And and I don't get any money from it, different publishers. So
you don't get any money from it?
I think I got $53. No, I did get $53 the last 2 years. Yeah. So it's paying off pretty big.
All right. Yeah.
So I'm not a happy camper with that the new publishers.
But I know, I mean, that was a really popular book, and I'm sure you.
Yeah, it was. It was on the top sports bestsellers for a couple of years.
And it's really an interesting read.
Well,
especially if you're a Kings fan. So, what does Reynolds remember about May 6, 1993? Shaquille O'Neal of Orlando named the NBA Rookie of the Year. He averaged 23.4 points, 13.9 rebounds, 3.5 blocks per game. And he led the Magic to an improvement of 20 wins over the previous season.
Not a surprise.
Yeah.
I'll be darned.
Yeah. We're just talking about Wemby, Rookie of the Year today, and they won, a couple more games? And
2 more games.
Yeah. What were your first thoughts of Shaq in the NBA?
Well, I'd scouted him extensively in college, and so I wasn't surprised by anything I saw in the NBA.
Yeah.
I mean, it was one of the main thing I thought about is, is why didn't we get him in the draft? Lucky enough to get him because I had a Shaq jersey already. But anyway, the thing about him, that just from scouting him, going around LSU and talking to students, that there wasn't anybody didn't really like him.
Really?
It's really amazing. He was just, and I've gotten to know him, and he is a generally likable person. I hate to admit that because he's the Laker.
Yeah. But 2002, he wasn't your favorite person, was he?
No, he wasn't. By that time, I don't care how nice a guy he was evil. But That guy, when he came to the league, that rookie year, I mean, he could run like the wind.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy was faster than any guard in the league.
Yes, he was much slimmer. Huh?
Oh, slim. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. May 6, 1996, Seattle and the Rockets, the Seattle Supersonics and the Rockets combined for 33 three-pointers made, 33 three-pointers made, game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. That was the most ever in an NBA playoff game, 33 three-pointers made. I would have thought when I saw this, I thought, oh, now I bet the record's really much higher than that. It's still only 40. 2022 Finals, Game 1, Boston and the Warriors made 43. So in 1996, 33 made three-pointers. That was a ton of made threes.
At that time, that was. I mean, that was really amazing.
Because teams, the early days of the three teams didn't shoot many, did they?
No. It was basically a desperation shot. You needed 3 points to tie or something like that.
May 6, 1998, Michael Jordan becomes the first player in history to be selected to the NBA All-Defensive First Team 9 times when the NBA announced the 97-98 NBA All-Defensive First and Second Teams. 9 times. And that was it for Michael. That was it for his run with the Bulls.
Well, he was probably as good an individual defender as I've ever seen, at the wing positions and guard. He could, that's the advantage. That's one thing Anthony Edwards is. He's a good defender, but Michael was great. Absolutely great.
And Chris Watkins sent me this. May 6, 2003, a Chris Webber slam dunk during the Kings 124-113 win at Dallas. Game 1 of the Western Conference semis. Webb finished with 24 points, but we know how that ended for the Kings. That was kind of the beginning
thanks,
of the
Chris. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, he said that's your buddy. He said, I'm sure Jerry has some memories of this series.
Yeah, I do. And after that first game, I thought, well, the team didn't won 59 games, but really had more talent. It added Jimmy Jackson, Keon Clark.
Yeah.
It was really a loaded, even, probably more talented than the year before. And I thought, okay, we'll take these guys out. We will win the championship this year. Even the NBA can't do anything about it. And then the next game was,
changed everything.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah. That's your buddy, Chris Watkins.
Oh, boy.
Thank you very much for coming in today.
Well, I enjoyed it tremendously. Thanks. And, brought back some good memories, bad memories, and love talking hoops.
And thanks to Simone for carrying us through the 4 hours. Huh?
Well, she's the best, but we don't even need to say that.
Right.
She's just as the best.
What do we have coming up, Simone? Do we know?
We have some A's baseball.
Exciting. Yeah. Stick around because
we got
thrilling. A's baseball coming up next year. Jerry, we got to get you out to the yard when the A's are here next year.
We'll do it.
Yeah, you haven't been to the Coliseum in a while, huh?
Not in a while.
Yeah. You still a Kansas City Royals fan at all?
Not really. No, I'm a front runner. I was when they were good back when I lived there, and George Brett and the boys, but no.
Update for you, 10:33 left in the third. Indiana's leading the Knicks 58-54. And, of course, Game 2 tonight, Minnesota and Denver, although Rudy Gobert, we don't think he's going to play because of a birth in his family. Thanks for listening. We got Ace Baseball next right here on Sacktown Sports.
Subscribe to Sacktown Sports on YouTube and watch the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross, Stiles and Watkins, and the Drive Guys. Live Monday through Friday from 6 to 6. Plus view archive